Proclamations, communications, none. Courtesy of the floor regarding matters on the agenda for today. Go ahead, Sylvia.
Sylvia Thomas from Hazleton. The other day I was shopping and I stood in line to get checked out. 3 young men were flirting with the young girl who was checking people out. When they left, I teasingly said to her, "I saw those young men flirting with you." She smiled, but to my surprise, she said she didn't like it. I said, "You don't?" She said, "No, I go to school, and on weekends, I stay home." I said, "I don't envy the young people of today. They are surrounded by dope, violence, and sex." She said, "That's why I don't go out." I thought that was very sad. A pretty young girl afraid to go out in Hazleton. That is sad. I realized then that that dope, or I should say that poison that these young people say are so easy to get on the streets of Hazleton, isn't just taking the lives of our young, it's taking away their youth. And being young only comes once in life. We have to fight these drug dealers, not just for our sake, but for the sake of the young people. We owe them that. The small increases in taxes that our mayor is asking for, 75 cents a month and 25 cents per $100 earned, isn't going to hurt anybody. And they will avoid huge increases in the future. Those huge increases will be hard to explain in future elections. We have to get more more policemen and women on the streets of Hazleton now. I like our new police chief. He's trying to get everyone involved in fighting crime, and that's the way it should be. He's trying to get everyone. Tonight, he, our mayor, and the people in this audience are trying to get your help. Please don't say no. Come future elections, the people of Hazleton will remember that you had an opportunity to fight crime, to make Hazleton safe for our young and for our elderly, but you said no. Mr. Mundy, you seem to be placing more importance on so-called campaign promises than the safety of the people of Hazleton. Do you really think 75 cents a month or 25 cents per $100 earned is going to hurt the residents of Hazleton? Do you?
No.
I rest my case.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Norman Tarantino, Hazleton. I'm looking over the agenda for tonight's meeting and seeing what you have regarding this taxing of the city of Hazleton. I think that it is very unfair to the property owners of the city to see the property tax increase for the city. There are a lot of other ways that the city can utilize to get the funds that it needs. I think that it is time for the earned income tax to be raised. I don't see that, at least that everybody who is across the board will equally pay a share of the taxes that are due and not burdening the property owners by having them fit the bill and paying all the taxes to make things happen in the city. So I think that the earned income tax increase would be what the city needs right now to be helpful and to get us the policemen that we need in the city. But also there are a lot of other types of ways that the city can raise money that they're not utilizing, such as there's a lot of ordinances and things that have been passed that haven't been enforced in this city, and the city needs to get on the enforcement of enforcing things like some of the garbage ordinances that haven't been enforced by the city, and other ones that have been on the books for years that have not been enforced in the city. And that's where the city can get funding without making it a burden to taxpayers. And that's what the city needs to be more proactive on, is getting other ways to not be a burden to taxpayers, but more of a service fee for the people who are utilizing or misutilizing the city. Thank you very much, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
John Keegan, 105 Ferrer Avenue, Hazleton. Tonight, the budget for the city of Hazleton is front and center. This process has been going on since last year. Your approach to the budget so far has been to hide your head in the sand to avoid the costs that have been and continue to rise. Hazleton is a third-class city. By law set in Harrisburg until 2014, it could only assess property taxes up to 25 mills plus go to court for an extra 5 mills. Hazleton hit 25 mills in 1972 and 30 mills in 1977. Hazleton was hamstrung in revenue until 2009 when Luzerne County proceeded with reassessment that greatly reduced the millage. The result of years with constrained revenue culminated in taking out a $5.6 million loan to cover deficits that piled up during that period. Crime was on the rise. To reduce costs would have hurt police efforts in fighting that crime. That debt will be with us through 2025. The debt-related millage rate climbed from 0.54 mils in 2012 to 1.3 mils. It accounts for about 14% of the budget. In 2012, we were at 3.11 mils property tax. In 2013, that rate was raised to 4.51 mils, including that debt-generated taxes. The rate was used for 14, 15, and 16. When the previous council tried to reduce the rate to 4.06 mils, it was immediately restored to 4.5 mils. Since some of you on council used the 2013 hike to champion your political campaigns, you blamed your opponents for outrageous taxes, yet you did nothing to stop the increase. In fact, 2014, 15, and 16, you did nothing to reduce that rate despite your campaign words. Your failure to reduce taxes speaks volumes on the fact that revenue was needed to continue providing the level of service, particularly police, on our streets. You rode on the coattails of that tax increase, fooling the public that you weren't responsible for it. Well, you were. You had no other revenue sources to offset that increase, so you were as complicit in its implementation. Let's discuss the path you are trying to sell the public on now. When taxes were stymied by the law, it resulted in a deficit situation that caused the city to take out that $5.6 million loan to pay its bills. As stated, it resulted in a huge tax increase because debt must be paid first before anything else, another provision of the law. This time, it isn't the legislature charting our course. You are following, in essence, repeating history, showing a complete disregard for the lesson it taught us. By refusing to increase taxes to cover rising costs, you will be recreating the deficit situation that led the city incurring more debt service. So yes, you are on the path of increasing debt, aka another tax increase. I spoke about the increase when I was on council about the increase in health care costs, the increase in workmen's compensation costs, and the CBA awards. They aren't going away, and they're going to increase every year. And yet you're going to stymie us by saying you're not going to raise taxes. You're just going to create more deficits, okay? What you are doing is the equivalent of putting the uncovered expenses on a credit card to be paid at a later date. Guess what? It still has to be paid. Jack, for claiming an accounting knowledge, you and your majority put bad debt in this year's budget. Bad debt means it was income already claimed in a previous budget, but not paid, resulting in a deficit for the year it was there. If that money is collected now, it needs to be applied to the budget for which it was originally designated. Otherwise, that deficit remains. Once again, you are trying to use money twice, which can't happen in a real world. If the deficit is there, it still needs to be paid. Unlike the U.S. Treasury, Hazleton cannot print money to magically pay its debt. One day, Hazleton will be facing the deficits your actions are causing in the name of your political aspirations. Instead of being responsible fiscal stewards, we demand that all of you be. Crime is holding this city hostage. The perception, and you can't tell people what to feel, is that you don't want to be in Hazleton if you don't have to, period. Downtown businesses are suffering because of that perception. Take a trip downtown, down on Wyoming Street at 12:30 at night. Tell me you feel comfortable walking around. Just today, we had another shooting in the same area. We had an off-duty officer severely beaten May 2010. November 2008, Nick and Martha Caputo beaten in their homes. 2009, 2 shootings involving Dominican street gangs, 45 minutes apart. 2012, drive-by shooting. October 2013, suspect shot and killed after a struggle with a gun. 2014, shooting at Shaker's Bar. 8/2014, Josephine Smalley beaten in her home in broad daylight. 2015, shooting on East Diamond Avenue. June 15, an execution-style shooting. 8/2015, 2 separate shooting incidences at Mine and Cedar. This has become the symbol of Hazleton, okay? This is the heroin addicts that are coming in my pharmacy and every pharmacy in this city seeking syringes. So we see it front and center. We are the ones dispensing Suboxone because we see the addiction and the being treated for it. You need to provide the mayor and this administration with the funds so that they can do their jobs. The effects of the spike in gang-related violence is no different than what happened in Los Angeles School District. The lingering effects have everyone in Hazleton and surrounding areas and those who moved away questioning the safety of our city. One of the basic duties of a council person is to protect the safety along with the health and welfare of our citizens through proper appropriations. Keeping us safe, which is your oath, means giving us a budget that accomplishes that mission and is realistic. You are using the old tactic of one-time ponies to mask a tax increase, which will quickly reach an end. You can't be serious about giving us a budget that reduces police. And that is exactly what you did when you defunded the line item that we used to pay the salary of the chief of police. The Pennsylvania Economy League predicted the money shortfall we are experiencing. There is no leftover money as alleged for part-time police. Pen and ink is what makes a budget. Actual cash is what makes a budget work. The $100,000 you allude to time and again is fictional. There is no actual surplus from last year to bring forward into this year's budget. We already know last year will end in the red. Besides, how can you fund a position that you haven't even created yet? It is your duty to prevent redding from happening. I'm asking that you pass the mayor's recommendations so this city has a chance at surviving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Annie Mendez. I'm a citizen of this community. I came here about 15 years ago looking for what we are losing at this moment, peace and tranquility. I am the mother of 4. I have 3 boys raising here in Hazleton. 1 daughter is already in college away in New Jersey. I'm one of the person in the Spanish community that believe that we need a change. This city was a small town city and is growing in a majority too fast for the police that we have now to handle everything that's going on. I came here to be able to have a decent environment for my boys to grow up, be able to feel safe. I'm a widow myself. I'm home alone with my 2 children. I used to leave the door open for my son to come from school if I wasn't there for a step out, or if I went to the store, the grocery store. That way he could get into the house. I can't do that anymore. I'm afraid. I'm at home. I have an alarm system. But even though I have 3 boys at home, I am by myself. I think that it's possible. I don't know how you guys going to find the money, whether it's with the proposal of the mayor or in any way. It has to be done, and it has to be done now. It has to be done now before things get worse, before more killing and more things are happening. We were a small city. Now we are a city growing with big city problems that need to be taken care of at this moment. I am here as a mother asking all of you to think as parents. I have 3 boys, and it hurts me that I have to be watching out for my boys. I have a 16-year-old that I'm raising. Excuse me if I get a little emotional. That my family said that I'm raising my son as a girl because I keep him home. I keep him in activity, I keep him in baseball, I put him in basketball, and every single thing that I can give my boys for them to be able to have a safe environment. I don't want them going out. He said, I want to go to the Iron House. I said, where is that? Oh, no, you're not going there. You know, we are a community. We're not white or black or Spanish. We are a community. And I want this city and this council to know that not only the bad apples are here, that we are here as members of this community, and we want to improve. We came here for that reason, to have a better chances for our children. And we want to keep it safe, and we want to keep it that way. We need the help, and this is the moment to do it. And Jack Mundy, you are a parent as well, and I know that you know that what I'm feeling. I feel unsafe. My children feel unsafe. I can't let my boys outside to play without me watching out of the windows all the time. I can't feel like that. I feel like I'm trapping my children in my own house. And why? Because of the situation. I'm afraid of them walking around the block or riding the bicycle because somebody can snatch it or a bullet can pass by. And this is not possible. I ran away from that. And I need to feel that I'm going to be able to raise my boys that are still at home in a safe environment. And you guys have all the power to do that and make that happen. Please make this happen. As a mother, I'm asking, and as a member of this community, as a Spanish member of this community, I'm asking, we're all here to work together, and we need this. Please approve this.
John Leonard, Hazleton resident, 107 Franklin Street. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a retired first lieutenant here from the city. During my time, I fought and bled for this city to keep it safe. My brothers and sisters in blue have also made significant sacrifices in order to keep the city safe, often placing themselves in harm's way. At one time years ago, I said we were at a crossroads, and if we didn't take the right route, the city was going to go under. Yeah. Well, we failed to take that opportunity years ago, and we've gotten to the point where we're at our last straw of our ability to have a safe and secure community. In 2009, I served in Iraq, where I was wounded. When I came back, I actually felt safer being in a war zone than in the community to which I lived. I encourage you, council members, to support Ordinance 2016-4 and 5, so long as the monies generated go directly to protecting this community. That money needs to be specifically earmarked to our police department. Nobody likes tax increases. I don't like tax increases, but it is the necessary evil under the circumstances. If we fail, we'll fail the entire city, and it'll just go down. Council members, I request that you make a choice to choose the hard right over that easy wrong and support Ordinance 2016-4 and 2016-5. Thank you very much.
Usually, Judy Yurcho, Hazleton. Usually I just talk off the cuff, but there's so much stuff that's going on right now that I wanted to write down some stuff that I don't forget anything. I'm not a politician. I don't belong on any boards or council. I stand before you a taxpayer, a homeowner, and a citizen of Hazleton. I've been here all my life. I live a half a block away from where I grew up. Tonight, the budget of Hazleton is on the agenda. The issue is causing such an outcry is the raising taxes to get more police for the city. The problem with the city we have is many. We have drugs. We have properties that are so blighted. We have low-paying jobs. And we have a city that has lost respect for the people who lead us. Taxes seem to be the way the higher-ups think to solve the problem. Throw some money at it. The money seems to come on the backs of the homeowners. Say we agree on the tax rate and we hire 3 to 4 police officers, and next year nothing has changed. Are you going to come back at us and say, we need another tax increase? That's what, and where is it going? It's going to go on the homeowners. The trouble is, we've had money that's come into the city, and we've mismanaged it. It boggles the mind. We had $100,000 earmarked for part-time police officers. Nobody knows where that goes. There's been so much money that's it goes here, it goes there. I am not against hiring police officers. I'm with the gentleman who just talked, who was a police officer. If it's earmarked for the police force, and it goes where it's supposed to go, and it doesn't get shuffled around because we need to pay this or we need to pay that, I'm all for it. What I think we really do need in this city and the surrounding areas, because we have people here from West Hazleton and Township tonight, is we need a regional police force. We need to go after Barletta and Sioux Hill and tell them that we need this whole area as one. Hazleton has less than 40 police officers. West Hazleton has less than 15. Township has none.
And we've been bearing the burden.
And what happens? They rely on the state police. What we need is we need everything coming together as an area, because as a good friend of mine said, crime has no boundaries. It goes from one area to the other. We push it out of Hazleton, it goes to West Hazleton. We push it out of West Hazleton, it goes to Township. What we need to do is get organized. We need to talk to our representatives. We need to tell them that we need to do regional. It's happened in Dallas. And I must say, if we need somebody to lead it that is qualified, we have a gentleman sitting right over there. He was hired to be our chief of police. And God bless him, because you are so overqualified for any job that I can think of. And you're doing a good job. People are going to say, you can't be done. It can be done, because we did it with the school districts, and the revenue was there. If we do this, we can band together, and we can get the community safe, all of the community. I'm half a block away from Township. If somebody's in Township and robs something and comes up my way and tries to break in who are you going to call if he runs back into Township? It needs to be the area. We need to take care of the people in Hazleton, because that's why I come here. That's why I come to these council meetings. I'm glad that we have such a full house tonight, but I come to as many as I can. It should be like this all the time. And actually, there should be more people than is here tonight.
And I would like to know how many people are actually from Hazleton here tonight, and how many people are from West Hazleton, and how many people are from Township. You're from West Hazleton. You're from West Hazleton. You're from West Hazleton. Who's from Hazleton? Okay, good.
There's quite a few.
Now, what I'd like to see is every meeting that we have, the same people that are concerned, please show up. You're invited. We need your participation, and we would like you to come.
Now, like I said, I'm not opposed to the tax increase if it's earmarked to where it's supposed to go. But we also need to go after other avenues. We have to go after the absentee landlords, and we have to band together as a community, because the police aren't going to be able to do it on their own. We have to start going to Crime Watch meetings. We have to start getting the blinders off that it's not happening in my house, so I don't care. Because guess what? It'll end up on your doorstep sooner or later. I'm so tired of seeing all the for sale signs popping up. Every week, there's a different one in a different area. People are giving up their homes at a loss just to get the hell out of here. And as much as, you know, I agree with this, I have a problem too, because the math isn't working out for me. If we lose the hospital, which is something on the agenda that everybody's saying that like Lehigh Valley might, we're going to be screwed. We have, the average police officer makes $42,000, a little less than $42,000 a year.
Judy.
And I got this, no wait, with all their benefits, insurance and everything else, it comes out to $99,000.
No, that's if it's a new hire and they're coming in at 70%.
Right.
Okay.
But what I'm
After
saying
that, it
is,
goes up.
if you
Judy.
do the math, we're still going to need about $400,000 to take care of four to five police officers.
Initially, and then after 3 years, it's full pay.
Right. And we need to find ways to get the money. It's not going to come out. This same proposal was in the last administration. You guys shot it down. Like I said, but that was a lot of mismanagement of money. What I'm saying is, make sure that this is earmarked to where it's supposed to go. We don't need to say next year, geez, I don't know what happened to all that money that was supposed to have the police officers. And like I said, if every single one of us goes and talks to the representatives in this city, Tara Toohill, Lou Barletta, going up to them and saying, we need a regional, that takes a lot of heat off of all of us. And we'll have more people, and it'll be a safer community. And we need that. We definitely need that. Because if we don't start being creative and thinking out of the box, this whole town is screwed. That's all I got to say.
Good evening, all. Thank you for hearing me.
Could you put the microphone down a little, please? That's it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes?
I, too, think we need...
State your name, sir, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Dave Robideau. I lived in Hazleton about 25 years now. I, too, believe that we need more police and more police patrolling. But I also think when it comes to looking at taxes and increasing, let's first eliminate waste, fraud, abuse, creative bookkeeping, and duplication.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you make it? You could have taken your chair over there, Dave.
Dave Minnick. I'm from West Hazleton. Thanks for the time. I've served on council in West Hazleton, and I know some of the problems that you're undergoing. I've also been a member of Crime Watch and coordinated crime watches and developed crime watches within a 3-county area of here. In the past 8 years, I probably, myself and the members of my crime watch have helped work with the police. I've seen the police. My job on my crime watches was to be observant of the town that we live in, of not just West Hazleton, but the entire area, because crime has no boundaries. It's not just affecting Hazleton. And as crime gets pressed down in Hazleton, it's coming our way. We're aware of that. But I also believe that right now, thanks to the appointment by Jeff of Chief Spezial, you have an expert to deal with this. We couldn't ask for anything better. And if the man says that we need 6 officers to give us better protection on the streets and more aggressiveness, so be it. That's what we do need, okay? Also, I've watched, like I said, I've been very observant over time, and I've seen the members of HPT over years answer calls almost like whip puppies. They're beat down. They work so hard, okay? Now, Jerry says they increased the force by a thing and changed some hours with agreement of the FOP. How could anybody say no to that? They work less. They work with more backup, which is definitely necessary in today's world. I think we need to give 100% support, and if it's a matter of finding a way to do it, we can't penalize the police force for past administration's faults. Let's get the police where we need them. Let's work on solutions to the overall budget thereafter. But police are necessary now. Thank you.
That it? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh.
Hi, my name is Lorene Angelo Ogurkis, and I'm really proud and honored to be here to say that I am an Angelo. I am born and raised, local girl from Hazleton. I moved to Cunningham, but that does not mean that I don't bleed Hazleton. And I know that a lot of people in here feel the same way. I am at my wit's end. to be honest with you. I am an attorney. I came home to be with family. I wanted to raise my children here. I have. I started Brandon's Forever Home last year. Last year I was standing here wanting to help children in crisis who were in foster care. People would ask me, how many children would you help? I thought maybe 2. I didn't really know. I just wanted to help. And I wanted to preserve a beautiful home in our area. I see this handout that I got, and it seems to me that we are missing the point, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if we preserve the buildings, if we call them historic. We're here because of the good people, of the faces of the grandfathers and uncles and aunts who have stayed in this community. Right now, I'm serving 1 new child a day out of Brandon's Forever Home. Children who have been abandoned by their mothers who are heroin addicts. Not their first child, not their second, their third, their fourth. Abandoned. If you've ever seen a heroin-addicted mother, you will see a woman dying. Hazleton is dying. It is going to continue to die. It is going to continue to kill people within our families. It doesn't know a race. It doesn't know a creed. It doesn't know Hazleton. It knows Cunningham. It knows West Hazleton. It knows Mountaintop. It knows everywhere. But I'm from Hazleton. And I believe in Hazleton. And I believe in the people of Hazleton. Come together. Do what's right. I'm a businesswoman. I know how to handle finance. Figure out a way. I don't care if it's on the backs of my grandfather. I don't care if it's on the backs of my uncle. I don't care if it's on any of the backs of people who earn an income in this town. Because at the end of the day, nothing will be left. This year, I want to make sure you're all available. I had to bury a child at Brandon's. You say, how could that be? Got a phone call for a child who had died 2 months old from drug effects, okay? From heroin. The foster mother didn't have the right to bury him by law. The biological family didn't care. So the child stayed in a coroner's office for a month until I found out about it. I buried a child through Brandon's because that's the right thing to do. If you do not pass this, I am telling you all, I want your names, so the next time I'm burying a child in Brandon's, you will stand beside me.
Excuse me. It's my understanding, and this is probably to help you out. Okay,
Sure.
that if a person, any type of person, and they're indigent passes away, that the state will step in. They give a stipend to bury the child.
They'll give a stipend, but at the end of the day, who's going to claim the body? Who's going to take that child if nobody gives a shit?
No. What I'm saying is...
Money's not the problem. It's heart.
Saying financially, if that was the case, that the parents could have stepped in if they were aware of it.
Come to Brandon's. Come and see what I'm doing.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to help you out, like...
Oh, I understand. Listen.
Financial basis.
Financially, Brandon's wasn't created because of finances. Brandon's was created from the people of this community. Not one nickel came out of my pocket because my father said to me, Lori, this isn't about you. It isn't about Michael. It's about the community. You must go out and tell people. So I went to every single person I knew, and I said, come and help me. It's on everybody. The beauty of Hazleton is a 1907 Georgian mansion that's down on Church. The best of the people is in that home. And if there's anybody here who's given up on this town, you must walk in there because it is divine, and it is through people. Generosity, food, clothing, heat, you name it, I don't pay. I said, this isn't a nonprofit that pays people. This is a giving home for children who deserve better.
You're right.
Good evening. Peter DeMarco. I live in West Hazleton. I am a director on the Good News Multicultural Community Center, which most of you know as the Old Jewish Community Center,
Right.
which we are working to restore. We're almost there. I grew up just outside of Manhattan when you wouldn't, excuse me, you wouldn't dare walk on 42nd Street. Drugs, prostitution, killings.
Right.
It wasn't, did somebody die in New York? It was how many people died in New York. That changed when quality of life crimes changed. When police started enforcing because they had the manpower to do it and they had a strategy to do it. Not just the money, but a strategy. We have that right here and now. It's sitting right in front of us. We need to implement it. I'm not about who did what and who believes what and who's politically what and that. The money has to come from somewhere. You're all intelligent people. You're all business people. You all run this city. Find the best way to fund it that helps everybody. I agree, if it can be paid by everybody and not just property owners, absolutely, let everybody share the burden. You can't buy real estate on 42nd Street today for the value that it was when it was blighted. And if you allow Hazleton to change, if you allow the chief to put his plan and stop the crime in this city and the surrounding areas, because it doesn't know any boundaries and they're going to work together. I met him in West Hazleton, not Hazleton. That shows you right there there's no boundaries, that they're looking to work together. And so is Chief Buglio and I'm sure the rest of the police officers in this area. But we need to fund it. It's not just the police officers. It's a strategy. It's modern day policing that they have. What I do in my personal life, not my business life, is to do with children, just like Lori. Mine are a little bit older. The ones that I teach range from 11 to about 16, 17 years old. They're the children we have to reach. They have two options. Come to a community center or a church like mine, or go to drug dealers. Either way, gangs or community centers, they consider it a place to belong. So if we don't take the power out of the gangs' hands, that's where the kids are going to feel they belong. If we put the power in our hands, they'll belong with us. By doing this, you not only settle an immediate problem, resolve an immediate problem, you come up with a long-term solution for the younger people who are growing up in this city, that they know what it's like to grow up in a good city. If I had to live the David Dinkin years of New York City, I'd be a thug right now. But I got to witness the Giuliani years and the changes that came about in New York City. I take my children back there often to visit and see things, and I'm amazed at how beautiful it's remained because it was a long-term plan. That's what we have the opportunity for right now, for our children, for our community, for the value of our community. It is about money, and the value of our community will raise if we raise the quality of life in this community. Thank you.
John Homer Hazleton. I attended the vast majority of the meetings last year, as very many of you know.
Yes, you have.
I do recall that it was made known that the barrier was very thick and that you did try to get some cooperation from Joe Yanuzzi about trying to find possible ways to get things done, and he would not ever talk to you at all. To accuse the council of having the desire to raise taxes is wrong. The talk line has to be a two-way talk line, not a one-way talk line. Let's see if anything new happens now. Like I said last year, the world does not revolve around Joe Yanuzzi or even anybody new in the here and now.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Victor Perez. I am the president of the Dominican House of Hazleton. We want to give you the credit to all of you councilmen and councilwomen. We know that you got a good intention in this city of Hazleton. But we have to give it a credit to the new mayor, because we believe that his news ideas in this city maybe can be an access for us to find a better quality of life in the city of Hazleton. I'm coming from New Jersey. In that state, I know a person, and I was involved in his campaign. That person, I feel proud that he's now working in the city of Hazleton. In New Jersey, he's like a superhero. And I think he knows how to fight against the crime, against the problematic that we got in Hazleton. The Dominican House wants to give the support to the new Chief of Police, Jerry Speciale. You know why? Because we know how he fights against the crime in the city of Passaic, in the city of Patterson, Clifton, the whole Passaic County in the state of New Jersey. We believe that everybody's talking about money. Of course, we need money to produce maybe more police officers or maybe cover the expenses. I remember in 2013, in Castle's, in the school, Castle School, we celebrate the first Crime Watch meeting. We recommend in that meeting to found new police officers bilinguals, because we got a problem in the crime with crimes, people that doesn't speak English, and we know the problem, we know the situation, and we recommend that. The answer was, no, they have to learn English. Perfect. 3 years after that, now the police officers are looking for bilingual police officers. Perfect. We recommend some surveillance cameras around the corners to make sure that we receive the good points or good situation about what's going on in each street. No, we don't have money for those cameras, but we need it. Still need it. We recommend new police officers, but undercover police. Because if you don't get into the criminal guys around here in Hazleton, you don't know what's going on. If you don't get involved in the community, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what happened, how the people are thinking. So we recommend, with all respect to the city council authorities, please take care about the way to find the money, to find the opportunity to give it to the city of Hazleton a very quality of life for everybody. We believe that we can work together and we can find the way as united. We can work to united. And thank you.
Is that it?
One more. Do I have to sign up?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone here and everyone from their homes.
State your name.
My name is Maximo Almanzar, and I'm glad to see that you guys are concerned about your city. But I believe that it's not just the crime being raised just because of drugs. I believe the crime is being raised because of the miscommunication that we have in this town. Now, I just want to give you a couple examples so you understand where I'm trying to get to. If you want to take over and want to be on top and make other people control or keep them out of what's going on, just keep the books away from them. Keep the newspapers away from them. Keep the media away from them. And this is what have happened ever since I can remember being in Hazleton 5 years. I could not go on TV and watch what's going on, what's the plan of the mayor, because we don't have a local TV station. We didn't. Thanks to Max Garcia today, we do. I mean, If that's not a big deal to you guys, save your claps. Because if you need help and you need to reach 30,000 people by tomorrow, Mas Garcia, Telecaribe, is the way to reach these people and tell them, what do you want from them? Now, what's the percentage? Is that 50, 60%? Is it 70% Hispanic? If you want a child to go on the streets and stay away from their parents, cut down the communication. Let that parent not to talk to those kids anymore. And they're going to find a leader. And that's what happened in Hazleton. They forgot that there were leaders. The leaders turned their backs because they couldn't communicate. Communication is the problem. If you want a wife and a husband to turn their backs away, let them not talk to each other. The kid eventually will find a way how to do whatever he wants to do. And later on, you might find them down the streets doing the wrong things. I mean, some things have to stop, and I'm sorry that it might hurt anybody out here, but it's not our fault that we have come here. I say we as a Hispanic because I'm a workaholic, okay? That we have come here and work and work and work and did nothing but work. I don't talk for every single one Hispanic that have come here to work, but it's not our fault that crime or anything has happened or, you know, what's going out there in social media about that we destroyed Hazleton or something like that. But I don't want to get to that. That's not the point. I just want you guys to grasp, and you could save some money in the future if you build on the communication. If you only think that life is only once, and that tomorrow we all going to be in a casket, then why not enjoy the people that are around here among us? Whether Hispanic, whether Italian, whether it's white, whether it's black, whether it's African, it doesn't matter. Why would just not get to know each other? Why would just not come together as one? I mean, that's not a good plan here, or did we miss the whole point? That I went to the Italian festival and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Italian festival. It was peace in heaven. You know, the fireworks was beautiful. But, you know, I miss seeing you guys in the Dominican festival because I think we didn't even have one last year, did we? You know, I miss you guys seeing, and I miss the unity, and that's where it has to start. Now, by learning about each other, you know, I know Italians are strict. Italians like, you know, if it's red, it's red. If it's the numbers, it's the numbers. I dealt with Italians. I was pretty much like raised by Italians because I did business with Italians, and, you know, they taught me, and they love my loyalty. And that's why we got carried along so long until I end up in Hazleton. But again, if you get to learn Dominicans are the most loudest people that we can ever meet and the most sensitive people that we can ever meet. Because if you say something about him, he would never come back. He would just stay home. He would not even want to bother to deal with someone that is just going to talk bad about me or about themselves. They just have this feelings that, I don't know, they get hurt and they don't want to come back out again. And there goes miscommunication, because the ones that get hurt that really cares are the people that stay home, are the good people. Crime doesn't look about, they have thick skins, they don't care. Those people come out in the dark, they come out anytime, and they do whatever they do. Now we are weak. As a whole, as a team, as a town, we are weak. Because these people, criminals, they can communicate whether drugs don't have a language. Drugs don't look at a color. People look at a drugs, and drugs is drugs. They don't even need to know your name to do drugs. Am I wrong? So why we need to know your name to come up to you and say hello, thank you, have a nice day, and make someone feel important? To say, listen, you have come to this town. I understand we have rules, but we need to enjoy our lives in this town. You could raise your money. You could get triple the cops that you want. You could get all the cops that you want. Yes, you're going to be busy, because you're still going to have miscommunication. It's just going to grow, and it's going to get bigger, it's going to get worse, it's going to get worse. So when are you going to step up and say, you know what? Thank God for whatever has created, it's here. Thank God for what we have, and what do we can do with it. There's a Spanish saying, if you got lemonades, you got to learn how to make lemonades. You know, I mean, if we have Chinese people, you know how tough it is to deal with Chinese people? They only deal with themselves. They would never bring a dollar around, circulate a dollar. Dominicans, for what I can say, they're the most friendliest people out there, that they don't just love to get to know each other and be with other people and get to know with other people, and they just get silly, and you know. But if you teach them and you guide them, they're one of the best beings that you can ever be by you. I mean, if you guys want to continue with this war and crime, you got to look at your neighbors. If you guys want to defeat it, if you guys want to make something about it, you got to put everything else to a side and say, you know what, we need to improve our communication among as a whole. Cut down every social media bad things that they say about each other, about other people, whether it's pics, whether it's this, whether it's that. Cut it out. Ignore it. Block them. We don't need that. We need to be positive. We need that when we come together, we can look at each other's eyes and say, you know, why would I turn into drugs when if I do turn into drugs, I can look at Jeff's eyes and say, hello, my friend. I can look at Taratus Hill's eyes and say, hey, thank you. I cannot look at Lori's eyes, because these are people that have come and had communicated into my life and have brought into me that I need to do something better for myself as a community, and had inspired me to do so. Why don't you guys, every single one of you, just put as a homework and say, you know what, I'm going to inspire 10 new strangers so they could just become better. I'm sorry, you guys have great leaders back, I don't know, 30, 20 years ago. But if those leaders are somewhere in another state, tweeting or texting or Facebooking and saying that they left Hazleton because, they're one of the most coward people that I've ever met. Because when there's a problem, I'm home, you don't turn your back on your family. You stick to your family no matter what. I love talking on the mic. You guys, yeah. but I really, I really want you guys to understand. You have a young guy that's a leader. That's huge. That's huge. To inspire young people to make a difference. That's huge. Not because of the age, because he has the drive to make things turn around. And we have an expert who's looking to beat the crime out here. If we all get together here and create as a whole, Hispanic, white, blacks, and everybody, and get everything together and forget about whatever other people have, we could definitely turn this around with pennies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I promise you I won't be as long as that guy. Don Zola, formerly of Hazleton. Lived in Hazleton 50 years. 2 years ago, sold my house and moved. Why did I move? Well, because the city is in the dump. Sold my house for a lot less than I should have. Because what it was valued at, what I was able to sell it at, very broad span in between. And that's happening to everybody in this room. So, if we're going to worry about raising taxes a little bit, forget it. You got to worry about your house being worth nothing if this police department's not straightened out. Jackie, Gav, we grew up 3 blocks from each other. Did you see our neighborhood? Come on. Really. Now, I live in Sugarloaf, but I have a lot of properties, as you guys know, in Hazleton and a business. Pay taxes on all of them. And from my standpoint, whatever I got to pay in increases to get this police department where it needs to be, I'm going to pay. Now, I have a question I don't know if anybody can answer. Each household, what does it cost a household to fund one police officer for a year? Huh? How much?
For six, it's
Less than $9 a year.
For six.
Per household. For how many?
For six.
For 6. My question is, why are we only going with 6? We need 30. Do the math. You know what I'm saying? Really, do the math. If it costs a house $100 a year to get our police department staffed to where it needs to be, and we could turn the city around, now somebody's house that right now is worth $27,000 can be worth $47,000? I mean, come on. This is simple. And besides all of the dollars and cents and all that stuff, I mean, guys, we're not safe here. We are not safe in this town. My business, as you guys know, I got to drive around these streets all the time. You know how many cops I see? None. I see none. I drive through McAdoo and it takes me like 3 seconds to get through it. I see 2 cops in McAdoo. So that's all I have to say. You guys, you know what has to happen. Make it happen. Mayor, make it happen.
My name is Barry Postapak. I live up on the Heights. I have a business downtown for 43 years. And one thing I told then Mayor 8 years ago, you're going to lose this city if you don't get more police officers. Our city's almost lost. In my opinion, it's just about this close. And one thing, no matter if you hire 6 cops, 12 cops, 18 cops, or 36 cops, if they hide in City Hall, they're useless.
Thank you.
This is a recommendation on you, Chief, okay?
That's correct.
I see Frank Vito 3 or 4 times a day because he's out doing his job. 40 years ago, I saw 20 police officers pass my business. I have not seen one in the last 3 days. My point is, the police cannot be invisible. They have to be on the street to deter crime. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Lequet, and I've been a citizen here in Hazleton for the last 3 years.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Alejandro Lequet.
Okay.
Me, like Speciali, I came over from Patterson, New Jersey, so I am here to support him. And I want to say to Mayor Suzette, congratulations on making the best choice you could. The reason why is because Patterson years ago was really bad. I'm not going to say that it's all perfect, but thanks to this gentleman here, he has made a big change. And I want to say to the community here in Hazleton, you guys are very lucky and fortunate to have this gentleman here, standing here, because he wants to make a change. He actually wants to make a change, and he is going to do it. Now, you need to have faith. Now, another thing is, I'm a Lehigh County Correctional Officer. I live here. I pay double taxes, basically. So I don't mind if I have to pull out of my pocket $10, $15, having a family, just so we can hire enough police officers to basically be visible, like the gentleman said here. There's no reason why there should be prostitution in the afternoon, in the early hours, when you're walking with your kids. And you have a police cruiser 3 blocks away monitoring, but not doing anything about it. This needs to stop. Now, with all the experience, I'm sorry, I was going to say Sheriff Speciali. I'm used to that. With Mr. Speciali, with all his experience, I just hope that you guys can actually get together, get the community involved. I'm going to say this. mostly the Latino community, okay? You guys need to get involved, okay? Because we have a lot of people, a lot of drug dealers coming out from Jersey, New York, and they're basically doing whatever they want with this city. There should be a tip line, or I'm pretty sure that there already is. There should be a website. We're already in the age of technology. We have Facebook and everything. I don't know if the police department has that, but there should be some type of access to basically us texting and saying, you know what, there's something going on over here via online. I think, and also one more thing is there should be access to the City Hall, the police department 24/7. There's no reason why, which happened to me last a couple of Thanksgivings ago, there was no police presence. They went into basically my garage and they stole a few things there. And I called like for the next 2-3 days, never got a response from a police officer. So I just hope that you, I don't know what is your plan, Mr. Suzette, but I believe that you should work on trying to take this man away from Patterson. And they might lynch me for that, I'm sorry for the expression, but we need a speciale here. Okay, for the next 10, 15 years to make a change. Thank you.
Hello,
Hello, Joe.
my name's Joe Zola. I just want to pass on to this administration that we have one of the hardest working police departments in this area. No one knows it better than I, because I deal with them 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They are just unbelievable. They're awesome. But you as the administration here, you have to help them, because these guys are in danger every day. Every day they walk out of that cruiser or on undercover, they're in danger. It's to the point now they're not even safe when they come to court. The incidents are occurring in the courtroom. We need men. We need equipment. We have a great chief coming in. His credentials are unbelievable, but he needs the equipment and the manpower. And you guys got to do it. And there's ways to do it, and you know it. So let's get with it. And again, thanks to all these Hazleton counties.
Good evening. Jerry Spezial, the Chief of Police. To the Municipal Council, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Whether you're pro or con, I just wanted your voice heard. I'm not a superhero. I'm someone that has 35 years of law enforcement experience that started on that street on 42nd Street as an undercover. Now we have Lion King on that street. Nobody would have ever believed it. I'm someone that still has the passion from within to serve the people and to lead this great organization. I have never seen, until today, watching the talented men and women of the Hazleton Police Department come together during a shooting and bring it to a successful conclusion just before we walk through those doors. So you can imagine what they went through all day long, pulling together. This is a talented group of individuals truly dedicated to the welfare of the citizens. And everybody here, there's no quality of life if our homes and neighborhoods aren't safe and our seniors and our children are all left unprotected. We've listened to everyone here. I didn't speak to any one of these people other than to say, please come out and voice your opinion. Speaking to the media, pro or con. This is your constituents. You're hearing their voices. Please give us the opportunity, because collaboration will unleash the power of all of us to do what none of us can do alone, and we will have a safer Hazleton. Thank you.
Hello. Mark Rabo, First Street, Hazleton. First, I'd like to thank the chief and the Hazleton Police Department on the superb job they did with the shooting, which was in my neighborhood. So I'm directly affected, okay, by what happened last night. Woke up my mom, who lives 2 houses next to me. So I know what it's like to be affected by crime, and as Interim Chief Speziale talks about hot spots, I even labeled my hot spot. I call it Skid Row. And so if you want to map that, Chief Speziale, you have my blessing to label it as such. But there's one thing, and I'm going on the agenda item of the blighted properties, blighted building committee. And I want to tie that into what was said about home values being depreciated. The main cause of home values dropping is actually also the low income and foreclosure rates and vacancies. Because as some of the people stated that left Hazleton, those properties some of them weren't able to be sold, and they became vacant and then over time became blighted. And once they became blighted properties, they went to the tax sale or sheriff's sale and were purchased by, drug dealers and slumlords, which would just put a little paint and putty and then rent it out to 15 people, and that's how you got, the criminal element. So I think what we need to also do is look at the holistic picture, not just, micromanage and pigeonhole it. We need to also look at the fact that, as you all, as the council and the mayor and the chief and some of the people that regularly attend meetings here, I also go to the county meetings. And up in the county prison, there's only 505 cells that can be available to hold prisoners. That's it, and we're at a maximum level. So when a police officer arrests somebody in Hazleton or anywhere else, there's only a finite amount of cell space, and they have to find the space, and they have to actually get rid of somebody by either sending them to the state prison or somewhere else, so then that way they could keep fill that space. So I think we need to also work with the county, and also we need to have our state representatives, as Judy says, because of the fact that we're working with a 19th century model, tax model, to tackle 21st century problems. And we were warned of this, actually collectively third-class cities like Hazleton, Wilkes-Barre, Reading, Allentown. We were all warned back in 2003 by the state. But nothing was done by the state representatives and the General Assembly and the governor at the time. And still today, to this day, we don't even have a state budget, for God's sakes. So we cannot just put the onus on one group or one individual. We have to look at the whole picture. And that's what needs to happen here. I hope that this night isn't just, just for one night only, and we just live and let live and see what happens. We need to stay involved and stay active for the long haul, because if we don't, then what was said would be a foregone conclusion that Hazleton will be lost. And that's what we need to work together. We need to work together not only as a community, but we need to work with the county officials and see what they could do to help us, the state officials, what they could do to help us. We need to work collectively, okay? And we also need to explore also other sources of revenue, because the other sources of revenue besides property tax by itself is unsustainable, and you will have a ghost town. But we cannot just instant soup every time a problem, to solve a problem. We need to actually work as a short-term plan and a long-term plan. So I hope we can all work together, and I hope the Blighted Properties Committee gets formed. I hope, Mr. Mayor, that I know you're working on that, and members of council, Dr. Sosar, you're working on that too. So I hope that could be brought to fruition soon, because the less havens we have for crime, the easier it'll be for the police to do their job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. That's it. We'll move on with the rest of our meeting. Old business ordinances, ordinance 2016-1, an ordinance dissolving the City of Hazleton's Beautification Committee, second reading.
Present.
I'll second.
On the question? Roll call.
Kuzo?
Yes.
Gavio?
Yes.
Moak? Yes. Sosar?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes. Third reading?
Present.
I'll second.
On the question? Roll call.
Kuzo?
Yes.
Gavio?
Yes.
Moak? Yes. Sosar?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes. Next is ordinance 2016-2, an ordinance dissolving the City of Hazleton's Blighted Building Committee. Second reading.
Present. Second.
On the question?
I'm sorry, who presented?
Bobby Gavio.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Roll call?
Kuzo?
Yes.
Gavio?
Yes.
Moak? Yes. Sosar?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes. Third reading?
I'll present.
Second.
On the question? Roll call.
Kuzo?
Yes.
Gavio?
Yes.
Moak? Yes. Sosar?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes. Next, that's it for ordinances, resolutions. Resolution 2016-24, appointment to the Planning Commission, Charles McElwee.
I'll
The
present.
third?
This was tabled.
Yeah. It was tabled, and what, to take it off the table.
I move to take it off the table. Present.
Second. Roll call?
Gavio?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Kuzo?
Take it off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, just take it off the table.
Okay. Gavio?
Yes.
Moak? Yes. Sosar?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes. Now we have to present it again to discuss it.
I'll present. Go ahead.
I'll present it.
I'll second it.
On the question?
On the question, have we researched this, and has it come to an approval that we are able to do this at this point?
Dr. Soser, yes, it has been researched, and unfortunately, there is a residency requirement for a planning commission member. So this person would be ineligible to serve on the planning commission.
Okay. What about as a consultant?
I don't see anything that deals, when I was looking at the Municipal Plannings Act, when they're talking about consultants, they're mostly talking about professional consultants that can be hired. Unfortunately, I don't see anything in the act that addresses volunteer consultants. Obviously, planning meetings are public meetings. As far as giving this gentleman official title of a consultant, I don't think that's within council's power. If he does want to help out with meetings, there's obviously no way we can keep him from public meetings.
I would suggest to the mayor, because I know Mr. McElwee and I know of his background and his capabilities, and if you can name him in some way an ex officio member of that committee to use his skills, and I don't care whether you want to call it a consultant, I don't care in what capacity it is, Mr. McElwee's expertise is needed on that particular committee by far. And I would be proud to see you assisted in any way possible. The residency requirement negates us being able to vote
yes for
favor, but I would strongly encourage that we utilize his expertise in any way possible.
And I agree.
I will. His love for the city and expertise and everything else. I mean, that's him there.
Right, I know.
But I plan on utilizing him in a few other areas also.
And that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful.
If he's
I'd
willing
love
to
to see
help us in
that.
any way, I appreciate it.
Good. Anything you can find for him, I would appreciate, because he's too valuable a service.
Yes, he is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so...
Still need a roll call.
You have to do a roll call.
Right.
Roll call.
We can't put them on because of...
Kuzo?
Based on the fact of lack of residency, no.
Gavio?
Yes.
Mope?
No.
Sosar?
Reluctantly, no.
It's
Mundy.
reluctantly.
No. That's it. Next is new business ordinances, ordinance 2016-3, amending the budget ordinance 2015-30, providing for the appropriations of specific amounts estimated as required for the various departments of the government of the city of Hazleton.
On the question.
First reading.
On the question.
No, you have to present it.
Present
You have to present it. Bobby presents. I'll second. Okay, on the question.
On the question. Now, I propose these to give the mayor and the police the tools.
Bobby, underneath the microphone, please. Can't hear you.
Yeah, I propose these to give both the mayor and the police the tools to combat what I think is a major crime problem in Hazleton. Now, before, council had told me that the proposals that I made were illegal. So I want to ask our solicitor, am I allowed to make these proposals? And
You're allowed to make them. It's not that...
well, I want to know if it's, what did you tell me?
We said...
We were going to get information from the solicitor.
Make the proposal. That's not the illegal part.
Well, let's
Okay,
get
go
the
ahead,
opinions
Sean.
of the solicitor first.
Sean, could you...
Mr. Solicitor, please.
Yeah.
Give us some clarification.
Absolutely. Obviously, what we have to focus on here is, I know there's been a lot of charged public comment and a lot of emotion regarding the tax issue, and I think a lot of our issue here surrounds the earned income tax issue. Now, obviously, raising taxes is one issue, but there are specific laws that will set the boundary as to what council can and cannot do. So although council wants to do what it can, council only has to operate within the bounds of the law. Now, in terms of the earned income tax, now we have two laws at play. We have the Local Tax Enabling Act. Now, there is a maximum that's set on the local tax or on the earned income tax that we can set. It's on Section 311.3. On wages, salaries, and commissions and other earned income of individuals, that is 1%. That is our maximum 1% that we can charge earned income tax. Now, the next issue that comes up is, there's also another group of laws that call them the Municipal Pension Planning Fund Standard and Recovery Act. I'll just call it Act 205 for the purposes of our discussion. Now, under Act 205, and specifically at Section 608F, this is the Special Municipal Taxing Authority. If the tax rates set by the municipality on earned income or real property are at the maximum provided by applicable law, the municipality may increase its tax on either earned income or real property above those maximum rates. Now, here's the catch. The proceeds of this special municipal tax increase shall be used solely to defray the additional costs required to be paid pursuant to this act, which are directly related to the pension plans of the municipality. The municipality utilizing the special municipal taxing authority shall not reduce the level of municipal contributions to the pension plans prior to the implementation of the special municipal taxing authority. Now, at that point, we have the legal framework in which we can talk about the earned income tax. And I believe that the ordinance that we're looking at here would require an increase in the earned income tax. So our first question is, what is the earned income tax rate for the city? Now, according to the numbers that I have from our financial department, there may be some confusion as to whether or not we've reached that 1% max, and anything over that 1% would have to go right to Act 205 funds. According to the financial information here, our earned income tax rate right now, 0.50%, and our Act 205 contribution is at 0.85%. Now, if you add those together, you get 1.35%. If you take 1.35% and you plug it into a generic taxing ordinance, you say to yourself, well, obviously, both these laws come into play, and that 0.35% can only be used to go directly into Act 205 pension funds. However, if I'm reading this correct, and if the numbers are correct, if we are truly only initiating an earned income tax of 0.50%,
No.
then that could be raised.
No, we are
Let
at the
finish.
1%.
Let him finish his opinion.
Excuse me, but what I want to say, Jeff, it's our council meeting.
Okay.
We are at 0.5, all right? We are taking in 1%. 5% goes to the school district, 5% comes to the city. Am I correct?
Nope.
How does it work? Oh, wait, first of all.
Okay, let's be quiet.
Excuse me.
Let's be quiet.
We do have council rules.
Okay.
Okay, and we've been kind all night. Under council rules, you're not supposed to applaud, but we've let you go because you are excited, you are enthusiastic, and that's fine, we understand it. You are not allowed to interrupt meetings.
Okay.
Number
okay.
two, excuse me, Jack. Number two, we've given you more than enough time at the podium. We have a 3-minute limit. We've never, ever, ever held anybody to a 3-minute limit, all right? We've gave you the courtesy. Leave us, please have the courtesy to have our meeting. That's all I ask.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay,
Sean.
if these numbers are correct, now I'm not an accountant, I'm just giving you the legal framework on which we have to apply the numbers. So if those numbers are correct and our earned income tax is truly at 0.50%, there wouldn't be a problem with raising that as long as we don't get to the 0.10. The 0.10 is the max.
David, you spoke with,
I spoke to two groups today, both people involved in DCED and in the Pennsylvania Economy League, and both of them spoke, in fact, to that position of 1%, with 5% or 0.5 going to the city and 0.5 going to the school district.
and I'm correct.
Okay? In there, and we are at 1.35 already. We've added a 0.35. Now, that was at least 3, possibly 4 years ago. And I would assume, and I hope that I'm correct on this, but I would assume that what past mayors have done is to take that money and use it, since the pension is distressed in this city anyway, that money has, by rights and by fairness, gone to take care of pension deficiencies that we are facing. And in speaking with the two groups, they suggested to me that if the money was going to be used specifically to pay for additional pension problems, additional pension expenditures. Right now, we're at 75% payment on our pensions, and we've been that way for a number of years. If we climb to 100% next year, there would probably be reason to increase the EIT to cover the police and get it to the 100%, and or if you found a different way to hire police to take care of some of the funding of the pension for those police. Each police officer and I've gone back and checked it, each police officer per pension right now costs the city $30,000 a year in terms of pension payments. That doesn't get worked on into salaries, that doesn't get worked into regular salaries, gross incomes, anything. But that's still a cost that people have to pay. Now, if you're going to use that money for pensions, that's one thing. But they told me outright, and I'm not going to mention names because they prefer not to, because these are not being given as legal opinions.
Exactly.
Okay? In there lies one of the issues. Call DCED. Call the local government commission. Call any of these people, and nobody, but nobody, wants to give you a legal opinion. Okay? And I've become very familiar with that over the last 2 years. But they have suggested to us strongly that what we would be doing if we were hiring new police with that would be illegal and literally speaking, individuals in town would have a right to start asking for their money back. Now, I'm throwing that on out. If you're talking about, and I understand what you're saying about the 0.05, because that's the takeaway by the city. But when you start talking about the 1%, the 1% is what we are taxing. And anything above and beyond that, and in fact, you yourself now have just said already, you're at, even if you were talking about the 0.35, that is going on to pension programs, we're far in excess of that already. Now we're at 1.3. And I got to be honest with you, when I spoke to them, talking to them about the 1.65, that we're talking about outsiders who are working in Hazleton and paying that becomes its own animal that I don't even want to go to right now, because we are charging people an excess of money for having been in town. And I understand it. And I agree with the people in town who would say, well, if you're using the services in town, you ought to be asked to pay for something in town. But the law and the individuals in Harrisburg don't get into that. I saw Representative Toohill over here before. Is she still around? No. Unfortunately, it is, and I've heard people say here already, it really rests with the legislators who don't want to touch this. They can't pass a darn budget right now, let alone deal specifically with the problems that not only Hazleton, but every other community within the state of Pennsylvania are facing. Our taxing system is archaic. It's archaic. When you've got property taxes and EITs and the limits and the caps that we have, and there are more communities in the state of Pennsylvania that are hurting right now. And I'm not saying that, and right now I could probably get booed by a lot of people for suggesting what I'm suggesting, because that's talking about denying the possibility of that 2.5 or 0.25% increase for police officers in the city. But I've got to also follow the law. I've also got to obey what the laws of the state of Pennsylvania give me as a legislator for the city of Hazleton the right to do and or not the right to do. And that's what I'm concerned about. Okay. So, I did my homework in trying to ask this. Mr. Solicitor, I did please comment on the handout or the email that you sent to us specifically, because that was the initial answer. Now we're getting into something different. But what was the initial answer that you gave me today?
The answer that I gave you in the email was exactly what's said in the Local Taxing Act. The 1.0 is the max.
Is the max.
That's the max. Now, what I'm saying here is if the numbers that I have here are correct, and I'm saying I'm not an accountant, I'm just trying to put the facts into the law. If these numbers are correct, then that would not be 1.0. It looks like the Act 205 special fund is 0.85%. Now, us adding them together to make 1.35, I don't know why it's even being called that. If the earned income tax is .50 and our Act 205 contribution is at .85, that's two separate taxes. We have the Act 205 and we have the earned income tax.
What's the purpose of the Act 205?
To fund underfunded pensions.
That's my problem.
And let me just pull that. The section 608 that I sent in the email says that if the tax rates are at the maximum provided by applicable law, the municipalities may increase its tax on either earned income or real property above those maximum rates. Now, if we haven't made the maximum yet, then that section, the rest of that would be that anything after the maximum would have to go into the Act 205, the fund the underfunded pensions.
So are you suggesting that we have a 1.15% to play around with yet?
We have we have a whole 0.5 to play with the city.
No,
Yes.
you don't. Yeah, if even by your own argument, if you have a .50.
And it could go to
and
1.0.
no, if we've added a
Sorry, I spoke
.35
at your
to it
meeting.
already, then we've got a .15 that which we can play around with. That's your opinion at this point? And are you willing to live with it?
Yes.
I have...
Now, I want the solicitor's opinion.
If the numbers that I have here are
Because, Jeff,
correct...
excuse
I
me.
didn't...
It's us that have to vote on it.
I know
And
it is.
It's us that are going to be breaking the law, not you. So we need to have a legal opinion, okay?
And I've had people tell me today that they'll be watching this closely tonight. And they will tell me tomorrow what they think is legal or not legal in regards to what we do here tonight. And if that's what you say, and you give me the legal opinion on that, it rests on your shoulders. I'm covered by errors and omission. But I'm not going to stick my nose on out for something that is illegal if that's the way it works on out. Because if the city people of Hazleton want to come back on me and tell me we're going to sue because we don't feel that was correct to do, then it's going to fall on the city to pay it back possibly with interest, and we've got a real problem on our hands then. So I want to know precisely what's legal and not legal.
David, does DCED know that we're paying one half in the school district?
DCED knows precisely.
It's up to 1%.
DCED knows precisely from what some of these TV stations right here reported last night. One of the gentlemen from DEC is from Ashland. The other DCED person who I spoke today is the tax specialist on what goes on and what is allowed and what is not. So I'm sorry, but you know what? I mean,
he said it's not.
I'm willing to help, but I'm not going to break the law for the sake of what I'm being told we can't do.
Did anyone that gave you an opinion on the phone from DCED, did they have the numbers
They're not
from
going to
the
give
audit?
me the opinion in a legal
No, he
form.
wants to know if they have the numbers. And the point is, they know that we're...
They know that we're paying 1%.
We're not paying 1%. We're paying 0.5%.
No.
If these numbers are correct...
If you
and
look
we're-
at our...
Jeff, you're using semantics
I'm
here.
looking at the audit.
You're
It's
using-
right here in the sheet in the
You're
audit.
using semantics. We are entitled by the city to charge the 1%, which half goes to the school
No,
district.
first of all, the school district is already getting 1.0%. We're getting 0.5. We could match up to 1.0. We have 0.5 to play with for the city to match the 1.0 that the school district is already getting. We're paying as a citizen 2.35 total right now. 1% to the school district, 0.85 to Act 205, 0.5 to the city of Hazleton. That's 2.35. We have 0.5 to play with for the city of Hazleton.
Okay, Sean, I thought you said we had .15 to play with.
She said, they said we have 1.5.
What does the ordinance say, Grace?
.50.
Okay,
Well,
I'm
how much money? How much money is the city allowed to charge as a tax in earned income tax? 1%.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And where does the
The ordinance
1% get split?
That is something the accountant's going to have to...
Not
It
the
isn't split at
accountant.
all.
He's
That's
not
what
even legal yet.
Tom, maybe...
I'm...
Okay.
See, I'm answering questions...
Tom, maybe you could weigh in on this and enlighten us a little bit?
I talked to the state as far as, I believe his name's McIlerney. He kind of handles, he's kind of the state pension guru. The 0.85% that's related to the Act 205 statutorily can be anything. It's not dictated by the earned income tax. So if our distressed pension continues to go up, that 0.85% could go to 10%.
Right.
Statutorily, so that is split. From the research I did, and I don't know why you didn't raise this back in October, the research I did, 0.5% is our EIT for the municipality. It's separate from the 0.85. 1% goes to the school district. I'm a non-resident, which I know you don't like, but anyway, I'm a non-resident. So my taxes...
It has nothing to do with that. It has
Well,
to
my
do with
taxes,
legalities.
my taxes are withheld at 1.85%. Non-resident, 0.85% of my earned income tax goes to the city to fund the distressed pension.
Which they questioned to begin with, Tom.
1% goes back to my municipality and my school district. So a half goes to Crestwood, a half goes to Dorrance. The state law says you can do 2% maximum earned income tax. One to the school district, one to the municipality. Act 205 is completely distinct and separate, and again, the statutory limit on that is unlimited as long as you have a distressed pension plan and you segregate those funds specifically to cover your distressed pension plan. Berkheimer bills them separately. It goes into a separate checking account. It goes into a separate fund, 002 fund, and that's all that Act 205 money goes for. We have $1 million in excess, which that's before my time. Next year, we will not have to raise Act 205 income tax.
You're saying Act 205 then strictly goes into the pension fund?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then how are we going to raise, if anything that we do raise it cannot be used for salaries?
Sure, we're not raising the Act 205. Act 205 is set at 0.85%. That can be raised indefinitely going forward as long as you're specifically funding the pension plan. We're at 0.5% right now.
Both groups asked me, and it was too late this afternoon actually to make a phone call because I got the one phone call at 4 o'clock this afternoon. They said they could not believe that Berkheimer would be willing to take the chance to increase, and they would like to know what Berkheimer's comments on this were because Berkheimer, knowing what the tax laws are, would have a tough time justifying raising the EIT by 0.25%. I'm only telling you what I heard.
Well, they received emails, Berkheimer, about holding off on publicizing the taxes, and they had no negative.
And you told them what you intended that increase to be?
Absolutely.
And they made no comments whatsoever?
No, I had questioned about something else, about possibly raising taxes, and I'd have to get my emails because I don't take verbal. I usually take confirmation in an email.
And the problem with this is that because no one will give you a legal opinion on this, if you want the truth, I couldn't get.
Well,
I'd love to be able to show you. I got a written reply from Sean.
I do have an email.
But I do not have a written report, nor could I get a written report from the
I gave
PEL
Sean about the unlimited
or
Act
the
205.
DCED. I got one from Sean.
Will you step in?
How come your ordinance is saying you are at the max? 2015, 32. I didn't have anything to do
Where
with it.
does it say we're at the max?
The ordinance is written
poorly. The ordinance is a bit convoluted, but again, the 1.35, again, is split, 0.85 Act 205 and 0.5 for regular EIT. That's how it's billed, that's how it's collected, that's how it's deposited. I didn't write the ordinance. If it's misleading.
I didn't either, and that's why I'm asking.
Okay, I mean, it's
Because
possibly that
it
could be
is
misleading, but again,
pointing
I
that
know
out.
how it's collected, I know how it's billed, I know how it's deposited.
Okay, well,
So-
when I file my taxes,
So as our solicitor, in your expert opinion,
That's
the
not how I
ordinance
file
I
my taxes.
propose to amend the budget for these increases are legal.
I'm actually not even
in your
finished.
opinion,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm actually
Let
not.
him finish.
Go ahead, Sean.
I'm sorry. I know everyone's
Passionate.
Passionate where it's getting later. Grace has a very valid point, because if you look at our ordinance 2015-32, it actually says ordinance 1932 earned income tax at a rate of 1.35% on earned income and net profits of residents of the city of Hazleton, and 1.85% on non-residents, comprised of the first, the maximum rate authorized under section 311.3.
Thank you.
So our ordinance, as it's written, is saying that we're at the maximum.
That's why we're questioning, what can we do? What do we do?
I think in this situation, if these numbers are correct, and if these numbers were taken from the audit, and again, I can't verify these numbers, I'm just giving you the law and the numbers that I'm being given. I didn't do the audit, I don't know, I don't send out the tax bills. What I can tell you is that if these numbers are correct, certainly our ordinance is not reflecting that we're charging a 0.50 earned income tax. It's saying that we're charging the maximum, the 1.0. So if this ordinance stands as is, there's nothing we can do about that. What we would have to do is the language of this would have to be amended to reflect that the earned income tax, if it is at 0.50%, and then ordinance, like if it was 1931, 1932, 1933, would have to be Act 205 funding at the amount of X percent, something along those lines.
This is the problem. You go back to 13, 12, it's all going in that manner. So that's why my question is, when it's stating, the ordinance is stating we're at the max.
I think as you read, sorry, but I think as you read down further, it does break out the 0.85%.
Yes, I did.
It doesn't explicitly say 0.5 and
Sean,
0.85.
you have
But as
the
you read
ordinance with
further
the seal
down,
on it.
Yes, I do.
You would
Yes, you
back
do.
out the 0.85.
And it says it's
then
the
you would get to the
legitimate
0.5. So
ordinance
it's not the
passed
clearest.
by the city.
I'm sorry?
It's the legitimate sealed ordinance passed by the city.
Yes, I have the one with the seal on it.
Okay, would you
Dr.
please
Souza, I'll
hold
give it-
them up to make sure that people understand that what we're talking about are actually official documents passed by already the city of Hazleton, and they are stating point blank with the seal and the signature of this county clerk or the city clerk that these are legal documents already passed by the city of Hazleton.
Yeah.
And that does make a difference as well.
And that means that 2015, 2014, 2013, 2012, City Council voted on a bad ordinance that wasn't written correctly.
That's right.
2016 ordinance will have to amend. If we pass 2016-3, when we get to 2016-4, we're going to have to make an amendment to change two lines of the ordinance to reflect the changes
But
that are
Jeff,
made.
you passed it. You voted on it. You read it.
Okay, well, everybody voted on it for the last 10 years.
No, if you will remember, here's the problem. So let's get into the real heart of the matter. For the last 2 years, we have not had a budget that anybody knows what the heck the budget was. Because the mayor proposed a budget, city council denied those budgets, and the mayor went ahead and carried out the budget that he wanted to without any regard to what council wanted to begin with. So we don't even know that the mayor was following what we ourselves were willing to go with, because he simply did whatever he wanted. And so this council was powerless for the last 2 years to actually carry out anything that we wanted to do.
I'd like to move to table this until all the information is gotten.
And I'd like to know what budget he followed.
I'd like to say, let's forget about the past and move forward.
I am.
I mean, what's the difference? If something was wrong,
Where's Castelli?
if something was wrong in the past, why leave it go?
Break out again.
Go ahead, Tom, you want to say something?
I just want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
If we've been at the 1.35% for a couple of years.
Yes.
And that you're saying exceeds the 1% that we've been doing illegally, and it's published on DCED, it's been billed and everything else, then why hasn't somebody come back and say you're already exceeding the 1%?
Because most people believe.
They consider it's going to our pension.
Okay,
They
most
think it's going to the pension.
But it is, and that's how it's been reported to the state.
you know, everybody
So again, if we're over the 1% illegally, why hasn't somebody said something?
Now,
Okay, but
I want to make something clear. First of all, a lot of these things have been said tonight and in the newspaper that weren't valid. He said if we didn't have a budget passed by the 15th, we were going to shut down the city.
Exactly.
That is an untruth. We have a budget passed. It's a legal budget, which the
That's
mayor
fine.
vetoed,
If that's
and
fine.
we
If you want to live
overrode.
with that, if you
We
want to live
have
with
a
that, then we'll live
legal-
with it.
Jeff, we have a legal budget.
We do have a legal budget.
Yes.
You want to live with
so
that?
you can't
then-
make
then
that
that's fine.
statement and threaten and scare the people. That's wrong. Number
Listen,
two, we have
first of all, I
budget
didn't
ordinances.
propose a second
Jeff,
budget. Your budget is in place.
Yes.
If you
and
want to leave it that way, vote
our
no tonight.
budget is in place.
It'll stay in
no,
place.
will you let me finish, please?
Sure, it's your
our
meeting.
council
Okay.
meeting.
That's right. It's your meeting. Go ahead.
That's right.
Okay.
I want you to know that we have a budget in place and that the city isn't going to shut down and that the people don't have to worry about not getting services. All the services will be provided. The mayor vetoed our taxing ordinances, but his veto, according to his opinion, the lawyer's opinion, was done incorrectly. With that veto had to come a written explanation as to why he was vetoing. We don't have a signature, we don't have a date, we don't know when it was done. So his vetoes were illegal, all right? So that the city at this time and the residents aren't worried that the city will shut down, that is not true. We have a budget and we have our taxing ordinances in place. What we are trying to do here tonight is find out if we have the capability of raising our EIT taxes. And trust me, for me being skeptical, please forgive me, but we've been told a lot of things through the years which we found out were untrue. We were lied to.
Not only
And
raising
I
it,
am not going to be responsible for something
General
that's
fund.
illegally done. I want to know the numbers, I want to know the facts, I want a legal opinion on the truth. We asked we asked Sean earlier for his legal opinion on what we could do and what we couldn't do, and what was the law, and what was allowed to be utilized. With the EIT contribution, we were told anything above what we reached at that 1% max had to go to pay for pension contributions. That's what we were told. Now, Jeff wants to use that money for salaries, and that's understandable. Do we need more police? I'm not arguing the issue. We were never here to argue that issue. But we're here to find out if we can do it legally. And that's the point of this meetings.
Okay, Sean,
All right.
you're saying right now, because of that document, we can't pass this budget. Are you saying that? Or we have to wait? These amendments, we can't pass these amendments until you get a clarification or we get a legal opinion on what we can do?
Well, are you talking about the ordinance, the 2016-3?
No, dash 28.
Wait,
Which is,
are we on 2016-3?
3, 4, and 5 of the budget, yeah.
the budget ordinance.
If you
Which
look at,
one again?
3 is the budget, 4 is the
We're on
taxing ordinance.
2016.
Yeah, dash 3. I'm sorry, on 3. I'm sorry, Sean.
3, 4,
Okay.
and 5.
I say we table till we find out.
Okay, from what you last said, because of that ordinance, you're thinking we may be at the maximum, but I think you may need some help, and we need to get an opinion, a legal opinion from your office
Or-
saying what we can or cannot do.
Or
We're not,
DCED.
Jeff, we're not, when is our deadline for the budget?
Tonight. If you don't pass it tonight and advertise tomorrow, the next meeting is going to have to be on the 15th. On Monday, the 15th, we're going to have a second and third reading.
Well, we
If
can do
post-
that.
But if you table it tonight or don't get a first reading tonight, you can't. You need a first reading tonight or it's dead.
But how can
So
we vote
you have
if
to-
it's not legal?
How can you vote on something you don't
He
know?
gave you an opinion. It is legal.
What I'm saying here is,
No, he didn't.
If it's wrong, then we just don't pass it on second or third reading. But if the first reading's not passed tonight,
Yes.
the budget's dead, this budget is dead, Mr. Gavio's budget is dead, and then the budget that was passed in December 31st stays in effect.
I thought this was your budget.
Not my budget. No, I did not present a second. I made suggestions. Mr. Gavio put them forward as his own, and they're...
Council
let's
has a
not pass
budget.
the buck, Jeff.
Jeannie, council has a budget. I am making amendments to the budget as a councilman. And if, as our solicitor feels that it's okay and it's legal, then we'll just vote on it.
What I'm telling
go ahead,
If
council,
they're legal, then we vote on them at the
Go
first
ahead,
reading. If
Sean.
they're not, you get back to us.
Go ahead,
And
Sean.
we end it.
what I'm telling council, the law that I gave you is definitely the law. What the question becomes is whether or not we're at an earned income tax of 0.50 or whether we're at an earned income tax of 1, which would be our max, which would mean anything above the max can only go to the pension fund. If the numbers in the audit are correct, then we're not at a 1 for our earned income tax. I guess it comes down to what council believes in terms of the numbers.
Sean, here's what I want. Here's what I want. I want a written opinion from you ASAP, and I want you to contact the local government commission,
DCED.
local government commission first, and I want you to talk to the lawyers there. Now, they won't give you a legal opinion, but they will give you information on that. And if you need assistance with that, Ms. Toohill, Representative Toohill, will make that communication for you. I want that communication ASAP.
If it's
From the
not
local
passed tonight,
government
there's no
commission.
need for it.
I want it from the local government commission. I want it from DCED that's talking to you direct. I want it from PEL that's talking to you direct. I want it from every single source that you can get it from. Those 3, I will put my trust in. And only those 3. I'm not going to take it from a non-legal, from a non-governmental, from a non-local governmental agency that deals with this on a day-to-day-to-day basis. Okay?
If we vote on it the first reading, that will give you time because of the time frame to find out. Is that right? Am I right? So in other words, if
Yes.
we vote on this ordinance, it's going to be the first reading, it's not going to be passed yet.
Right.
It will give our solicitor
But then
time
we have
to
to
find
vote on
out
the
if we
taxing
are legal or if we're not.
Well,
So
Bobby.
we're in the time frame of the budget and we get more
Bobby, then we
police.
have to pass the taxing ordinance as well to go with the budget, which we can't
Well, there
do.
they are. They're the
You
3
need
I
two- you
proposed.
need
It's
3
gonna go
readings
the
on that
first
too,
reading,
so it's
Jeannie.
fine to pass
The first
one.
reading, our solicitor will find out, we'll know where we stand, and if there's a time frame, it's here.
What the people also don't understand is that this tax increase will occur this year, all right, if we do this. It will also occur every year after that for the next 20 years that these officers are hired. So be perfectly clear. Now, next year, listen, next year, our salaries for all the employees of the city are going to go up for cost of living, healthcare benefit costs, and everything else, all right? So you have those costs that are going to be incurred naturally, and Jeff said he wanted to increase taxes incrementally. Just for covering that alone, the taxes are going to be No, you're off. I'm sorry, but you have to wait till after the meeting now. That's the law.
Okay, go ahead.
What I'm saying is after this, after we have the increase, okay, and we pay for our
And then this ordinance here is
employees,
illegal to that.
all right, then you have the cost of maybe 4 to 6 more police officers added onto that, on top of it. When it's all said and done, you're looking possibly at a 1 mil tax increase. 1 mil. And that's not $9. And people don't seem to understand that. It compounds because every year the costs go up. Every year health insurance goes up.
Tom?
We asked the police for some give and take. We did. Please help us so we can help you. We
Tom?
didn't get a solid answer on it. So we
Tom?
don't know if they are going to do 12-hour shifts. We don't know if they're going to get rid of the cost of living increase. If that occurred, the money that we would save in overtime with the 12-hour shifts could help us put another cop or 2 on the street. These are compromises that have to be made, and this is what we've been trying to do, give and take. We just can't keep putting it on the taxpayers' back. That's been wrong. Now we need to work together, and we need to trust each other and have faith in each other that if they say that they're going to do it and we're going to do it, it will get done. But we need help.
Jeannie,
Taxpayers need
Jeannie,
help.
there's a time we have to put a little investment into our city. There's a time we got to put out, because if you stay stagnant and never put no money, if we put some money in, the police are now going to get more. You're going to now have more
Over the
drug
last
seizures,
year,
more stops,
we've
more money.
invested 120% tax
Well, our streets aren't safer, Jeannie.
No, and that's right.
That's
The
right.
streets
Vote
aren't
your-
safer.
vote your conscience.
120%
Let's bring it.
tax increase.
Vote your conscience.
And what
You
did
just
you
vote
see?
your conscience.
Okay,
Could
wait.
I put these in on the first reading, and you could find out if they're
Okay.
legal? If they don't want it, they vote it down.
Dr. Sosa, go ahead.
Still have the
They vote it
time.
down.
Dr. Sosa has a question.
Tom, very quickly. According to some estimates that I've been working on, and I don't know how accurate they are, but if we go to 100% pension next year, payments,
We go to, I'm sorry, what?
100%
Contribution
fulfilling
into the
our
payment.
obligations, I come to a possible estimate of about $3.2 million.
3.2 million?
About $3.2 million
For all the pensions?
for all of the pensions combined. Not police, but all of the pensions combined.
Right now, we're at 75%. For some reason,
Well, at
3.2
75%, it's works out to be about 100 or 1.8 million. If you simply work on doing 100% this year, it would have to go to 2.25 million. Next year, doing that and increasing it all over again would take it at 100% to 3.2 million.
I think you're low, and I don't have the numbers at my fingertips.
Okay, and
but
that's
again,
scary
when-
the way it is, if it's low.
Okay, but when I do the estimates, because we have excess money sitting in Act 205, I do not estimate having to raise the Act 205 portion of EIT next year. Possibly the following year, you may have to address that, but for next year, I don't
How do we
see,
have
I
extra
don't
money? Have we
project
been
having
paying
to
more?
raise that when it hits the 100% mark.
Have we been paying too much? How do we have extra money?
Well, I wasn't here, but I think the debacle or some of the miscalculations may have resulted with Don Wilkinson, if you remember that fiasco. Plus,
It has to be done tonight.
before I got here, even real estate tax was billed as one number, and then people would make gyrations in trying to get the numbers separately. Since I've been here, Berkheimer specifically bills and records the EIT separately, and it just goes into separate funds, as well as our real estate tax is billed and accounted for separately as far as general fund, recreation, and debt service.
Okay,
So
what
the
do you
la-
have in this account?
I'm sorry?
What do you
What do you
have
have
in
in the account?
What do I have in what account? In what account? The Act 205? Well, Grace, I sent you the audit. There's
I don't have it right with me.
Okay, there's approximately $1 million off the
don't
top
have it
of my
right.
head
All right.
sitting in the Act 205 account that will sit there, and it will accrue nominal interest. It'll be available in 2017. Again, as I project out, a 75% contribution, because we took that 7-year amortization, which I said in another meeting that hurts us. We probably should have just sucked it up this year and went to the 100%, because it hurts us in the long run from a financial perspective. But again, that money will be there for 2017. I don't foresee, based on projected payroll and projected investment return, et cetera, I don't foresee having to raise that proportion of the EIT tax for 2017. Again, 2018, you have investment returns, stock markets. You have to take a value of your pension and see whether it is distressed or not or what have you, and then we may have to raise that in 2018. Again, I'm 5 years down the road, so people are talking about short-term, long-term projections. If you want a budget for 2020, I could give it to you now.
Oh, I would love that. But I'm also looking at if the I'm joking. If the hospital closes. I know, you gave that to me.
I think I had passed that out
Yeah.
to council.
And
with
we're
the-
looking at,
What's the negative impact of the hospital
we
closing?
looked at that.
However, I mean, Yeah, things should be dynamic. Things should close and things open. But if we're always chasing our tail as to everything's always closing,
But if you're
we
gonna have
would
one
hope that if
has-
the hospital closed and we have a safer city and we have economic growth, that we would actually see somebody replace that instead of everybody always leaving. Again, I used an example of Pittston. Pittston is 1/3 the size of Hazleton in population. Pittston is 1/3 the size of square miles. Pittston has a $5 million budget. If we're 1/3 the size, you would think we'd have a $15 million budget to provide the service.
Excuse me,
Pittston
let me
is
say this
dynamic.
about
Pittston is
Pittston.
growing. They don't have enough office space for Pittston that people want to come into Pittston.
Pittston number 1 has Marcellus Shell drilling money coming in.
I don't think they do.
Yes, they do. Number 2, they
Okay.
have the redevelopment in there. They had a lot of reconstruction when the flood occurred.
We can do that.
They have good-paying jobs.
We
because
can do
We
that.
don't have that.
We
That
can
is-
do that.
I know, but
Look for the
problem
future.
is
We can
don't
grow Hazleton. We can
don't
bring
have
better jobs in, and I mean, that.
Okay, I just have a,
Can do, we need
Okay,
the
Judy.
chamber, and
Okay,
we need
Judy.
jobs in the city.
We need a safe city for anybody to want to come
okay,
here.
I have some questions about the budget, Jeff. You have the real estate, on the amended budget. The real estate taxes are going from 2.8 million to 2.9. Now, did you send out the bills already?
The bills were sent out.
How are we raising real estate taxes when the bills have gone out?
If they have to go back out, we could go back out. Again,
Wait, back up. Did we send the real estate bills out?
yes.
So how are we gonna, you're gonna send them new bills out now?
If we have to. Or we could add it on to another bill.
But you asked me 2 weeks ago. I said
I did
we
not
weren't gonna-
put this on here. This is not from Jeff Cassatt.
But these are your
They
suggestions.
were my suggestions, and Mr. Gavio
Yes,
put them on there.
I know he did.
I
but-
didn't put anything on here.
But I'm saying, I'm saying, you can't do that now. That'd be stupid to do that. To send out new
It would be
bills.
total pandemonium for the public if
Okay.
they have to come back.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, we can't do that. Now, we're all up here, we want to get more police.
I understand you
Now,
do.
6 might be too much of a burden on some of the people, and that's what some people think. But we're thinking maybe 2 or 3 we could live with. Could you live with 2 or 3?
I'm going to live with whatever you pass. I'll make it work. If nothing passes tonight, we'll make last year's budget work.
Okay.
I'm not going to be happy with it because I like more officers, I like more streets, I like
know.
more of everything. But if it doesn't pass tonight, then we'll live with that. I mean, we'll have enough money to operate till November and then have a vacation.
Well,
but
Can't we, Jackie, just vote on the amendments?
Now
I
wait, the
put in?
suggestion that I made, Tom,
And
was
be done.
what, two officers, what percentage increase in the EIT would that be?
That was 0.21%.
But that also increased with that number in.
Pardon?
Pardon me?
That also had that number in though, right? You have also had the real estate number into that.
No.
No, there was a
No.
separate one.
No,
There was
you
a
didn't have it
separate-
in.
Yeah, there was a separate
You
one.
didn't have
was
that in.
sent out excluding
Last
the
half
real
the
estate
audience.
and
You
had
know what?
it
You didn't-
increased
you didn't have that in.
to 1%.
Okay.
I mean, can you live with a
I can live with anything.
21 and possibly 2 or 3 officers, maybe more to save money? Maybe if we could raise money through some other ordinances to try and get more officers?
We're going to try to raise money all year. We would just like to see what we could come up with now.
Okay.
I mean, they were just my suggestions that I thought were fair and not unreasonable.
Okay.
This was
So,
a startup. to
That's
get
it.
it started,
I mean,
to
that
get
was just
more
my
police,
suggestion.
to get things
Okay,
moving.
I'll be happy with anything that
This
passes.
ordinance contains the 2%.
Yes, so if you don't want the tax increase, it goes back to your number
Okay.
of 288,724.
Balance it now.
Well,
Well, now you have to balance
what I
it.
would like to do, if council is in it, to amend this budget, to take the 2% out and put the 2.1% raise in EIT for the 2 or 3 officers. Could you live with that?
I could live with it.
We still need the.
I'm gonna live with every
Can
day.
council live with that?
If it's not legal,
If
yeah.
it's legal.
If it's
legal.
legal.
If it's legal.
If
I mean,
that's the
the only thing
question,
is
is it legal?
the-
We can't do something
The
illegal,
the
people.
point 21, could that be billed? Like, is that kind of?
Yeah, that's,
It's kind of odd because, generally EIT is .5, .75, 1.0. It's an odd number.
Well, our whole ordinance has been odd, so.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question, Tom.
Yes, sir.
On an increase on the real estate taxes, is it possible to bill them now, and will there be revenue from it? I mean, if I get a $4.50 bill for police protection, even though it's not with my tax bill, I think I'd pay it. What will we lose or will we gain?
My personal opinion on the real estate taxes, because whether it's Hazleton, whether it's Wilkes-Barre, predominantly, we have a high senior citizen home ownership relationship. When they get their tax bills, they're coming in the day they get it and paying it. And if you rebuild them every dollar counts, but the net increase by the real estate tax increase is probably about $80,000 on a $10 million budget. That's sort of pocket change to confuse the senior citizens.
Thank you.
And to rebuild, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to rebuild that small of a real estate. If you want to set it and then we'll bill it next year, it's already pre-approved for next year, we could do that route.
Okay, wait, back up. Okay, what I think I'd like to do is make an amendment to this budget, eliminating the 2% tax increase that's in this, and bringing down the EIT to .21, Tom?
.21 was what I had sent.
That you sent me?
You, council, the mayor.
Yeah, for maybe 2 or 3 officers.
Well,
That was 2 officers, as I recall.
Theoretically, 2 fully loaded officers, worst case scenario if they had families.
Okay, I'm going to make that amendment to eliminate.
That would be for 9 months. That number he gave was for 3/4 of the year, though.
What do you mean,
The
Jeff?
.21, when we broke that number down.
You'd have to.
By the time we hire them,
We have
it'll be
time.
April. So
But
what's
just
in?
say,
what's
but just say for next year, we're going to be short
so
for next
we'll
year.
have to
on that.
address that. We'll have to address that for next year. Then.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Wait a minute. It's 99,000 for 3/4 of the year, is what you're saying?
The line item that I had sent all of you reflected hiring date of approximately April, fully loaded. Your benefits were in there. You can't go back and hire them in January.
And if I recall, it said 99,000 per officer.
Yes.
Okay.
With
Now,
everything
that
included,
was
I believe.
No, that was coming in at 70%, which is what I'm trying to let the public understand. The officer is hired, am I right, Joe, at 70%? Then he'll come in the next year at 80%, and he'll come in after that with his full salary in a few years.
Well, the first year up front has all the costs built in for the equipment that officer would have.
Yeah, but even if he said he was going to get rid of 5,000 and dressing equipment. But that be it said, our problem is when it hits that 100%, you need to know, the public needs to know. And Joe and I have talked about different things with bringing the income in as well. There is income that has to be brought into the city, because if you don't realize this, when it hits 100%, we are going to have a tax increase. If it's for 1 officer, 2 officers, 4 officers, or 6 officers, there will have to be a tax increase, because we are also going to have the tax increase for the rest of the employees of the city during those years. They always climb, it never goes down. We need income coming in order to stop it coming that way. Income.
Okay, let's, I propose the amendment, eliminating the 2% for this amendment, amendments to this budget, and increasing the EIT to .21%, to 1.
Wait. To what?
What is it, Tom?
I guess you'd be raising from .5 to .71 on your base EIT.
Okay. And then we don't have to worry about the other income that, right, Jeff?
Correct.
Okay, on the
The
amendment.
question is, okay. what
The
you-
only thing is, excuse me, to balance the budget, now you're gonna have to take out, from Mr. Gavio's submission, you'll have to take out some applicable expenses so that it balances.
Okay, okay.
So you want to take that out of the, I guess it was there for the police, so the changes you want to subtract from the police as decrease the expenses for the police department to balance it.
The .21, if
I'll
that's
vote for
where
it tonight, but
that
I won't
increase
vote
was
for
going.
it.
I mean,
Yes.
Jeff, you originally said we were talking about 4 officers.
Yes.
Then I got to 5 and 6, so.
Will not do it unless we...
Okay, I just wanted to, so we could say it.
I'm...
Okay, okay, do I have a second?
David's saying something.
Okay,
Is this?
No, wait,
Oh, my
no, wait. Jeff
Go
wants to say, or
Go ahead.
Dr.
No,
Fiscal
you
wants
have
to-
to
No, go ahead, let's get it straight.
second it first.
Okay,
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise the EIT tax, we're cutting out the real estate tax, right?
Yeah.
And that's gonna provide for what, four?
2 or 3 officers, 2 or 3.
3 officers?
2 or
Yeah,
3.
in that range.
I don't think it's, all right, go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, on the question, I will vote for it tonight. But I'm going to tell you right now, unless I get the legal opinions of the 3 people that I mentioned, and I'm going to do my own homework on this as well. And if they tell me that you're crazy, you can't do that, I'm going to tell you right now, because I'm not going to stick my head out and commit an illegal act. And I also expect that if I'm going to do this, I expect a good faith by others in this crowd, because if we're going to stick our necks out, we're going to raise this tax, then I expect you, Mr. Mayor, and the police union to sit down and negotiate more than just a 6-month trial on a 12-month plan. I expect more than that, because if we're going to give, we heard a lot of people suggest to us that at this point we need help. We're willing to offer and we're willing to sacrifice a little bit, and yes, we're sticking our neck out, and as many people you see here tonight that are saying yes, that are saying yes. Now you just wait, because I've got the floor. I'm going to tell you right now,
Keep looking at me.
I want something from the union as well. And if I don't get something from the union,
Okay,
I'm going to vote no.
Order. And Mr.
Okay,
Fiscal,
you can speak.
control this meeting.
84,000.
I'll take your pension over mine any day. Any day. I'll take your pension over mine.
Your pension.
Okay. You can speak after. You
take
can,
it.
you can
Let
speak.
Jason
You can speak later.
But what we're saying is, we don't want outbreaks. Control the meeting.
Okay, Jason, you can
He's over
speak
here
after.
staring and yelling.
Jason,
I'm not staring.
Jason, you can speak later when we have time. There's still the end of the meeting.
He was staring at me and calling me out. I'm here to tell you there are no concessions. Make some concessions. We just made a concession at the Water Authority. We made a job for our friend, gave him $11,000 raise and 3% a year for the next 5 years, right?
You don't want to make a concession. Oh, wait a minute. You don't want to hire part-time police. Part-time police would solve this problem if you let us have part-time police. Part-time police would solve this crime problem. You don't want to allow it. You don't want to allow it.
We don't want part-time police. As a resident, that is not what we want. If you hire cops, if you hire 2, all you're doing is an injustice to all
This are the salaries
All right.
of the police department. And if anybody wishes, these are the salaries of the police department. And if anybody wishes to see what we are paying our officers and what it's costing the taxpayers, they have a very dangerous job. They have a dangerous job, but they chose that job. And we do appreciate it. But you don't appreciate the taxpayers as well.
But Jeannie, they're
It's
throwing
give
the
and
olive
take.
branch to you. They're doing 12-hour shifts. They're going to cut down on overtime. They're going to pay for their uniforms. They're giving us an olive branch. They are throwing an olive
Bobby,
branch.
did he say he wasn't? Did we have anything solid?
All right. May I go on the question? May I go on the question?
Okay, let's.
On the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, please also get an input from the auditor, okay, on that. If those numbers are correct, if they are, what he has in the, I don't have the audit with me. okay?
Like-
Matter of fact, I don't have an audit. You forget, I wasn't here last year.
Okay.
Like I said, we need to...
My kid got shot at at my own
Okay.
house, so I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
Get rid of her.
On the amendment,
She's out of order.
I made an amendment, okay.
I'll give them mine.
Okay.
I'll give them my salary if you can't afford to put them on the street.
Okay.
This is not a council
Give my
meeting.
salary right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I made an amendment to
Do
the
you make
ordinance. Do I have a second?
$132,633.71?
Bobby gave
Is that what you make? Is that what you make?
Huh? 2 or 3?
That's what some officers are making.
That's good, I can't second it. I don't think it's gonna make a difference.
Okay, wait, okay.
That's Genie, maybe Genie.
Okay.
It's enough Genie.
Okay. I don't have a second on the amendment, so,
People are dying.
so it dies, so we're gonna have a roll call on the amendment then. On the...
Wait, on the what?
On what? Or are
On-
you having a roll call?
A roll call on
I don't ever want to
Gavios.
see a meeting like this again.
Wait.
Gavios.
I can't hear.
On Gavios, okay, on
what?
on Gavios' budget.
All right,
Wait,
wait, you move to amend.
Let's take a
I
break
moved to
here.
amend.
sir.
and
Oh,
nobody-
you know what?
Okay,
If everybody
Jeff, go
gets
ahead.
quiet, we can't
okay.
talk.
Jack made a motion to amend
Yes.
the amendments.
Thank you.
Okay, that's where we left off at. Is there a
Thank you.
second? Is there a second
Yeah,
to his
second.
motion?
Now you're amending the real estate tax back to the original, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And then you're reducing the EIT to 0.21%.
What, from 25, right?
0.25 to 0.21. Correct.
Okay.
Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, but I can't, you know-
And then we'll make the subsequent changes in the expense
And-
column.
Okay, those changes have
Well,
to be
yes,
addressed.
to make it officially balanced.
Okay.
Can we
So we don't
pass
have-
it without it being balanced?
No, we're gonna make that
Yeah.
that assumption.
It could be balanced by the second and third reading,
we
right,
will
John?
Yes,
Okay.
we will balance that accordingly to them
And
numbers.
you will get
So with the amendment, Jeff, what
From
do you
the auditor
propose that
as
we
well.
can
have a
get?
legal opinion.
2 police?
I'll make sure that
We could get at least 2.
At least 2, okay. Go ahead.
Well, again, what was sent to everybody was balanced with what you're...
But we're making those 3 line item changes.
Okay, I made the amendment. Okay, I made the amendment. Do I have a second on the amendment?
Grace seconded it.
Grace seconded.
Okay, roll call.
Me? God. On the amendment?
On the amendment.
Kuzo,
Yes.
Gavio,
No.
No.
Mope,
This is to amend it to have it reduced, am I correct?
Correct.
I will do this, and this also includes the EIT for right now, the increase.
It decreases, it's 0.21 instead of 0.25.
I want what Mr. Salsar wants, Doctor, I want those 3 opinions as well before I vote on it for the next budget reading. Yes.
Okay.
Sosar,
Yes, on condition.
Monday.
Yes. Okay, that's the first reading. We'll go on to ordinance 2016-4.
No, as amended, you want to do,
No,
Jackie?
as amended.
Oh, as amended, okay. Present.
No, it was already presented.
No, that was,
Bobby and Jackie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, this has changed too, right?
so this is the next ordinance, ordinance 2016-4.
No, we have
No,
to, we
we're
have to vote on
voting
it as
the
amended.
budget. We have to, we
Oh,
just
the budget
amended
again,
it.
okay, roll call.
Kuzo,
As amended, yes.
Gavio,
No.
Mope,
As amended, yes.
Sosar,
As amended,
And conditionally.
Monday.
Conditional.
Yes. Yes, okay, next is ordinance 2016-4, an ordinance amending ordinance 2015-32, imposing the real estate and income tax, per capita tax, and resident tax for the period January 1st, 2016 to December
Yeah, the
31st,
wording is-
2016.
Count.
we can't do this one until we actually get the word.
we could,
This could
You
be,
going to correct it, or?
no, this one, we could amend this. Can we talk about it without being on the floor?
I'll present.
I'll second it.
Okay,
For
on
the
the question.
purpose of discussion.
Is this the
We
amended one?
could amend this to 1.56%, but then we got to change a couple of the words in here. where it says the maximum must come out, and then it should be.
Right. Like I was talking to council about before, the way it reads now is we're actually saying it's the maximum rate. I would also consider amending this to, if the numbers are accurate, reflect the fact that this is the new earned income tax rate and this is the Act 206 special tax.
Excuse me, though, but if we amend it and take that wording out, and then you find out that we're at the maximum, do we have...
But then you're not going to vote for the budget, which voids this anyway.
No, but what I'm saying is, yeah, well, we would have a...
We can change it at the second reading
Correct.
anyway.
Okay.
Correct.
We can change it at the second reading.
Okay, you're amending the 1.6?
I would make the suggestion to amend the 1.6 to 1.56 and take out the word, that sentence where it says the maximum. You could
take that out.
Yeah, the word maximum. I'm going to say that this ordinance is probably from 2006, and they just kept changing the words in it, and that's why that one sentence is incorrect in there.
Okay.
And then the 1.85 will be what?
Take 0.4 off of it.
Okay. Okay, on those amendments, I'll make a motion
To amend them, yeah.
to amend it to those numbers.
I'll second it.
On the question? Roll call.
Kuzo?
Yes.
Gavio?
No.
Mope?
Yes.
Sosar?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes. Okay, back to the
As amended, yeah.
Back to the ordinance. Roll call.
Okay. As amended, Kuzo?
Yes.
Gavio?
No.
Mope?
Yes, with condition.
Sosar?
Yes, with the same.
Mundy?
Yes, okay, ordinance 2016-5, ordinance, amending ordinance 2015-34, fixing the tax rate of real estate located in the city of Hazleton, PA.
You can let this die.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we'll let it die. That's it for ordinances. Resolution 2016-27, a resolution reconsidering and overriding the mayor's veto. Sean, you said we don't have to do that.
Yes, as I conveyed to council earlier this week, not only does our charter law, but also our rules of council that we pass require that the mayor's veto accompany, not only does he have to return it to the clerk within 10 days, but he also has to return it accompanied by a memo. If you recall, Mayor Yanuzzi returned the budget ordinance with a memo and a veto signature.
Right.
The two taxing ordinances that he returned, and I'm sorry I don't have those in front of me, so I don't have the numbers for council, but the two taxing ordinances he returned, he wrote veto on both ordinances, however, did not include any memorandum with either one of those ordinances. Pursuant to our charter and pursuant to our rules of council, it was required. So I would say that those vetoes just had no
Okay,
effect.
so we could just skip them.
They had no effect.
Okay, we'll just let them die. The next was resolution 2016-28. Next is resolution 2016-29, council meeting schedule for the year 2016.
I'll present.
Second.
On the question?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Can I add something here?
Go ahead, Jeff.
I would amend that February 16th. It's going to have to be the 15th.
Okay.
Because of the deadline. And also, I would add in the one in November in that first week, because the budget will be given November 1st. So I would suggest having one in between the 15th, because if you wait to the 15th, we might run into the same problems that we have the last couple of years.
What date, Jeff? What date?
I would say the 8th, it would probably look, if you want to keep it on that Tuesday cycle, because then that would give you 7 days to look at my presented budget.
Okay.
And then you would still meet the 20 days, would take you to the 13th and correspond. And I would probably add one to the end of the December, just so we don't have to waste the money on advertising if needed.
December.
I would say December 20th or 22nd.
Jeff, you got us in enough trouble the last time with if needed. We were
Well,
challenged
I like
on
to
it.
save money. If you put
Okay,
it-
the 20th?
I would say the 20th, just to go along with the Tuesday. So I would suggest those three changes.
Okay, well,
So February 5th,
November.
February 15th, November 8th, and December 20th.
okay. We'll make those changes and then we'll vote on it. Okay?
I
Roll
move
call?
to amend.
Somebody has a
Okay,
motion.
second. On the amendment.
Kuzo,
Yes.
Gavio,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. On the resolution now, roll call?
Kuzo,
Yes.
Gavio, Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2016-30, authorizing the mayor, Jeff Cassett, and Tom Perbula, acting director of administration, as signers of the city of Hazleton's accounts with First National Community Bank, FNCB.
President? Is that?
Second. On the question? Roll call?
Kuzo,
Yes.
Gavio,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2016-31, approving hangar lease agreement amendment between the City of Hazleton and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania at the Hazleton Regional Airport.
I'll present.
Second, on the question? I'll say something. We had an executive session with Dominic concerning a lease, which you're allowed to have executive sessions, right, Sean?
Yeah, well, for that purpose, yes.
Yeah.
That was for
Okay.
negotiation.
Okay.
No
And we,
contract.
and he briefed us on what we were doing here. So if there's no other questions, roll call?
Kuzo,
Yes.
Gavio,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. That's it for our resolutions. Comments from the audience? Everybody's tired. Go ahead, Mark.
Come on.
You're never tired, but please make it brief.
I will, believe me. I have a headache and I just got done being sick. I want to thank the audience for coming out. As I said, I hope that this isn't just a one-time deal. I think that we need to, I understand the passion of everybody here that want more police. I share it. Okay? The thing is, we need to not only just get the police we need now, we need to find the money to pay for them to keep the police that we're going to get. And that's what we need to do. We have to look at both sides of the equation. You can't just look at one number or one figure and then not look at the end result. And that's what I think we need to look at. We need to look at the whole picture. And I really want to work with the mayor and the council to find new ways to make the I gave two already. I'll give you 4 more. But please, don't just look at going in the well too many times, because the well's drying up. We saw it here today, right now, the debate. The well's drying up. We need to start finding new ways and to get revenue into the city. And also, I hope to God that everybody else chimes in and gives solutions and ideas to get new revenue into the city too. I'm not, one man is not a city, one man is not an island unto himself. We're all a city, we're all one people, a community. We need to actually do this together. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. No other comments? Comments from, okay, John, you want to make a quick comment? Go ahead.
John Homer Hazleton, once again. I'm finding all of this yelling at you in council to be reprehensible. I know that you are trying your best. To think that some of them would give you the opportunity to do what you must, I feel very badly for you about that. Looking back on the time when I did attend the meetings last year, I did not say what I said and I did not act the way I did, only for myself. I have a very strong passion about honesty, respect, transparency, and accountability to prevail about everything.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Now, to think that some could have taken my inspiration to do the same? I'd love to know when they'll finally jump in and do the same thing.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, comments from the mayor?
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I want to commend the police department on the job they did today. The shooter was captured. About 16 hours after the shooting, we did arrest the shooter.
Where was that, Jeff? Where did they get him? Where'd they find him?
In the house on Locust.
Next to my house on Locust Street.
He was in a traffic stop.
Right down by mine.
Well, we did a search warrant earlier this
Okay.
afternoon. It's at the area 10th and Locust, and he was caught in a traffic stop on the area of Alter and 8th.
Okay, thank you. Great job.
So I just want to say thanks, and that I'm honored to work with a great bunch of guys, not just the police department, but the fire department and the DPW. You know, we had a tough week with the storm and everything, and I think everybody
Yeah.
did a great job.
Yeah, they did a great job with the storm. I have to commend our department, Frankie and the streets department.
Everybody worked hard.
Great job.
Everybody worked hard this week.
Does everybody have a headache or just me? My head's about to blow up. I know everybody got heated here because we're all human and we're all full of emotions here, because our concern is that we want our children to be safe. My concern, your concern should be priorities. Our kids, they're going to be the future of this town. If we don't work together to find a way to protect our children, to protect our community, to make it possible that we all can live in peace in this place that we all call home, and we're going to end up in big problems, because these are little problems starting now. They're only going to escalate if we don't find a solution. Find in each of your heart to know that we all have family in town, that we all pay taxes here in town, and that we all love Hazleton. I love this town. I've been here 15 years, and I don't want to go nowhere. My children are not going nowhere. My children are going to be sitting in one of those seats in the future. I want you guys to think that we are here to stay, to work with you guys, and to make sure that our children are safe. And that is my worry, that I want to make sure that if my kids go outside, I don't have to be sticking my head out of the window or calling them, then to make sure that nobody has snatched them, that bullet didn't come through, that somebody didn't use them to go bring a package somewhere. And that, the only way that can happen is if you guys find a way. I know it's hard, I know the budget is crazy, whatever it is, but there have to be a solution. We need more police officers. We need someone that whoever is doing bad things here, know that police can be passing by at any minute. Yeah. We need to make sure that if my kids are playing outside, the police is going to be, cruising around. We don't need to wait for a crime to start for us to have a solution. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Grace.
Comments from junior counsel.
Junior counsel.
I'm sorry I got here late. I was up in Wilkes-Barre, up at the courthouse down there for a competition. Let me just say this on behalf of the youth in Hazleton, and I can say this right now. I wasn't here for the issue tonight, so I don't know if I have, the knowledge to speak on that. But I can speak for the youth in Hazleton right now and say that the youth in Hazleton are enthusiastic about the city, that we haven't given up on this city, and I can tell you that the three of us sitting here plan on staying in this city and improving it in the years to come. So that's what I can say.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I don't have a comment for tonight, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Okay.
I have a story to share from the previous weekend, and this involves crime in the city of Hazleton. I won a scholarship for the VFW, and I had to go down to Gettysburg, and I got to meet participants from all across the state who were in my age group, and we were snowed into a hotel and everything, so we got to talk a lot. And one of the things came up was we started talking about where we're from, and I said I was from Hazleton, and people from across the state knew Hazleton because of crime. They knew it because of crime. I asked one person, what do you know about Hazleton? His comment to me was, I know not to go there. That's what he said to me. And it's sickening. And it's something that needs to be fixed. And I don't know the solution to it, but I know that we need to come up with something. We definitely need to come up with something. And I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not going to be us not getting along and not making agreements.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want to go first? Go ahead.
You know what? I need to know who authorized, now I know you presented, it was last year, that you raised the parking meters, right? Okay. Just so I understand, because it sounded like I thought it was just done when I read the article in the newspaper.
It was voted on last year.
Yeah.
But we just rented the machine and recalibrated them over the weekend, over last weekend.
But
Yeah.
we didn't change the times, did we?
And that's my next question. The time frames. I had people telling me they were given tickets after 5. Are they? I don't know. You're going to have to help me here. I don't know, Jeff.
We
they?
did recalibrate the machines from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
But you need an
Yeah, but-
ordinance to do that.
No, wait. But what's the difference? Why would anyone have been given a ticket after 5?
because the meters are now set from 7 to 7.
You have to have
Wouldn't we,
it
we have
passed.
to set that, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm not following.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't follow that,
So if
Jeff.
there was any tickets given out, they're not valid,
We're gonna need a
Jeff. That's the
resolution to
problem.
change the
Okay,
parking hours.
then we may need a resolution to change the times.
Yeah, well, I mean, so if anybody got tickets from 5 till
Yeah,
7.
that's not a
The
good
other,
move
the other thing,
right
Jeff,
away.
I know in the paper you said it wasn't your idea about the meters, because it wasn't ours, it was proposed by
Yes,
Mary Nuzzi, but if you don't want the increase, we could change that
No.
anytime.
We went to a meeting, and they were all saying that it was done all of a sudden without telling anybody. And what my comment was that this was suggested back when the budget was presented, and we voted on it last year. I didn't say that I didn't want it. I said it wasn't done all of a sudden in January. Because the comment was you came into office and you changed the parking meter rates.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
Not you, but we were at this meeting.
Oh, okay.
And that's how it came up. And I said, no, this came out when Mayor Yanuzzi presented his budget in October. It was suggested, and we voted on it last year. We changed the meter, we calibrated the meters in 2000.
You're okay with them being where they're at?
Yes.
Well, I understand recalibrate. I'm losing, though. Why would I get a ticket if I parked there at 6 o'clock? I don't have any idea, honey. Mr. Sharp, I don't know. He wanted to say something.
I'll take responsibility for that. We recalibrate the machines. I'm expecting it downtown to be busy again. Every other city that I went to had the same from 7 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Well, we're not arguing that, Jeff.
So I
but
said
the
make them.
The public has to know that
We
legally.
put stickers, the new stickers, we had to get new stickers printed for the rate changes. I suggested we change the time now, so we didn't have to change the stickers again
I
later.
understand that, but legally, the people don't know that it's only still till 5 until it's changed law. So if anybody got a ticket, you can fight it.
Now, my next...
Go ahead, go ahead.
There's nobody working past 5 o'clock to give a ticket, so nobody could have got a ticket. John's done at 5.
That's,
okay.
The police
They're
officer.
also from 7, but I believe our parking ordinance
No, I
didn't
think
start
some were given, my sister works at Luzerne, and she said some of the students got tickets.
in the morning. They're
Dave.
getting tickets in the morning, and it's not in the
Well,
resolution. So if you
my-
got a morning ticket, you can fight that too.
My thing was, our guys are only on from 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It wasn't going to make a difference, but some police officers may have given a ticket, after the time frame.
Well, until we change it, I mean.
Now, my next question.
7 to 7.
I'll make a motion to amend the ordinance next meeting and.
We'll come up with something.
My next question. Jeff, are you going to put your directors before council for a vote?
Yes.
When?
Are you what?
Once the budget's the next meeting, we'll start working on that.
Well, now, not that bad, but you know what? It's February now, and you really have to. Actually, you do have to. It really is. It's a matter of law. I'm just telling you. It's a matter of law. I didn't write it. I don't have to understand anything. That's what it states.
We're working on that.
No, not working on it. One of the problems that we couldn't come up with this budget correctly is because we don't have an administration that's in place legally. That's why I said you're not legal, Mr. Perbola, because you haven't been reappointed, and actually you weren't appointed the first time, but we won't go there. But the point is, you have to have, we don't know what some of these people are doing, or what their positions are, or if there's even personnel policies that go along with them. People that we told were gonna leave are still here. People that we told that were gonna be in one place are not. We don't know. We don't have a lineup. And how can you put salaries in a budget without a lineup?
Now my next, can I finish?
Go ahead, Grace.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
The amended budget. I hope it's geared, and I hope you hire the police officers. I try to be quiet. Usually you know how loud I am, and I get in trouble. But I want to make sure that we hire the police officers. Now, I understood somebody was just going around for some of the officers that had taken the civil service test. How many men are on the civil service test?
There are 6 awaiting the, was it psych evaluation, is it called?
Yeah,
There's still 6 there's 6 potentials at this time.
At 6 right now. That just finished the test that we just gave.
They're in the process of, I could say, in the background
finishing it
check.
up.
Let's say that we'll call it the background check.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Grace. Bobby, you want to?
Well, I got to just say how well you guys pointed it out, and what a shame that the perception of our town is crime-ridden. It's not even a perception, it's a reality. There's going to come a time we're going to all have to make an investment and get more police on the street, or our main source of revenue is going to be the drug trafficking, and we're going to get it from that. It's not going to be businesses or people buying homes. So there's going to come a time we're all going to have to make an investment in the town to keep it safe, because what they said is right on target. That's all
No,
I can say.
according to Jeff's chart, which you presented at the State of the City meeting at the Chamber, if you look at his chart, crime has gone down in the past year. The highest crimes was thievery, theft, and vandalism. Those were your 2 highest crimes reported. This is Jeff's chart, not mine, Jeff's.
Jeannie, did you read the paper last week? Let me just tell you, while Jeff was
No,
giving the
don't
Red
tell-
Park an address, a lady was getting robbed at the senior citizens. The store up there was getting robbed. There was a stabbing on Grand Street, and last there was a shooting. We have major crime problems.
Jeff's graph.
We have major.
Okay, this is
Well,
Jeff. Don't look at me.
I'm trying to say we got to try and fix
This
it.
is Jeff's graph.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Just so you know, crime has gone down in the past year.
Thank you, Bobby. Go ahead.
I live in the wrong.
Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, I've probably said enough to tick off enough people here tonight to get no Christmas cards for the entire next year.
Oh, I've got coal in my stocking.
But that having been said, what I am most concerned about is what we do and what we do legally. I will wait with bated breath. But as I said, I'm going to do my own homework on this as well. This is all too important. I do echo what some of my other council members have said. I would like to see the structure of the administration finally put together. I know that you keep on saying that it has to do with the budget as of yet, but, advisors and everything, Jeff,
The only
transition
difference-
teams,
the
we
only-
need to know what's
The only
going
difference
on.
from the paper I gave you is Joe has been serving in the capacity of community development while Fallon's been out. Everything else on that chart is exactly what's going on in City Hall.
Where is he going
But
afterward?
I also need salaries. I also need to know responsibilities and who responds to who. These are some of the things that I'd like to see.
Well, they all,
Because I think
they
that
all
all
respond
of the
to me.
people
They're all,
need to know what's
but
happening.
they're all
as of yet.
department heads, so they all
Okay.
respond to me.
An organizational chart, Jeff.
I gave it to them.
But they also are in positions where they're answerable to other people too. Okay, that having been said, and we can get into an argument for longer, and I don't want to hold people back because it's getting late the way it is. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments tonight. But I do think we have to work together. I don't think there's a person up here at this table that is anti-police, that isn't interested in trying to get police for the city of Hazleton. But there has to be a give and take. We cannot put the entire burden on the people of this city. We can't. With 59% increase in poverty in this city, you can't. When people are earning $20,000 and $30,000 a year, we cannot continue to raise salaries higher and higher and higher. We can't do that. Now, some people might want to tell you that's okay, and we deserve it, and that's the way it has to be, and you're going to like it. Well, you know what? Every person in their own family knows what you can afford and what you can't. And whether you like it or not, or whether you want more or not, you gotta live with your budget. Think about that for a few minutes, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sosa. I'll be brief. I just have one or two.
Wait, I know I talked a lot tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot
It's
about
okay.
you for a
You know
minute.
you did.
Sorry.
And number one, we do want more police. There's no question about it. I'm not saying that our crime is reduced. Like I said, that was Jeff's chart. Why do we need it? So that we feel safe, and it's all about perception. And that's true. What this young man said, it's about the perception of the people that are from outside of the area and hear about Hazleton. We've gotten a bad name over the illegal immigration lawsuit that occurred. We were known nationally over that. That being said, he's right. But what I know, and from a business standpoint with my husband who is in business, I've got people in this community, and Mr. Popula said the seniors come in and pay. They're coming in with their little pocketbook and paying right away. I have seniors that my husband works for that can't pay the bill, but they're too proud to say, and my husband will say, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. They'll give them $5 a week, $5 a month. They never get the bill paid off. You know why? Because something else breaks. They don't have the money for the upkeep for their home. I see this constantly, and I know who they are, and I know when they call, and I'm kind to every single one of them, whether they're a paying customer or not. These are the problems that we have. We're not against police, but you have to understand, we are primarily a senior citizen community, and they have not gotten increases, all right? They have nowhere to go. We have young couples that maybe have a child or two. They have to make decisions of what they're doing and what they're sacrificing as parents and going without to put clothes on their kids' backs for school, all right? We have all these problems to face, and we need help. And I was not lying about our salaries. I didn't even give you overtime that was included. We need give and take. We were promised that they would consider a trial basis of 6 months for 12 hours. Your tax increase is permanent. We want something permanent, not a trial basis, okay? Number 2, cost of living increase. As I said, theirs goes up with each year, so does every employee in the city's cost of living goes up. We have to find a way to pay that. And we're not going to go back to the well over and over again and hit our taxpayers. They've paid and paid. We've paid through the years, the last few, 120% tax increase. I don't see our roads repaired. I don't see our community much safer. And I'm not saying it's the police's fault, because they're just trying to keep up with the tide, all right? I don't see any major improvements for my dollar, and neither do they, and everybody's discussed it. Now, another thing I'm going to bring up, which people may not want to hear, and that's one of the reasons I asked, who's from Hazleton? We have a lot of people from outside of Hazleton, and I don't care that you are. I'm glad you came to the meeting. This was the best turnout we've had a meeting in years, and that's a shame, because people, you shouldn't only care about one subject. You should be here all the time for everything that goes on, when you can make it. But why I asked is, they don't live in our community. They don't pay our taxes. We don't go to their community and tell them what they should be doing, all right? I want their input, and I'm glad to have their input, but you don't demand. They are not paying our taxes. They're not making the sacrifices that our residents are making. And if they want more police for Hazleton, then one of our major problems is our tax base is gone, because we heard, oh, well, I sold my house 2 years ago. Or I sold my house because it was, you didn't help the problem, you helped create it and make it worse. Every person that leaves this city puts the burden of the taxes on the guys that are left. And there's not that many of us left. All right? I think our employees that live in the city, that get money, we can't do it with our current ones, but possibly new hires. You're taking money from the city, you're getting your salary, live in the city. Our police department, do you know how many live in the city? A lot of them don't. Every police officer that lives in the city guarantees that his block, the block across the street, the block on either side of him is safer because there's police presence. Once that left and the police started moving out, which they're legally allowed to do, they're allowed to live within a 10-mile radius, the people knew that the police weren't there. They just knew that it was an empty presence in the city. While they lived there, they knew that they were protected at night. People felt safer. I think we need to go back to that way and really look into it. I also think what we need is the people who take money from the city to start paying taxes and contributing to the city. We're good enough. We pay you great salaries. $132,633.71. $132,215.85. $120,263.28. $117,444.07. And that's not talking about your overtime. Your overtime. Some of them are $2,781.86, $7,923.25, $5,059.93, $6,069.29. You add that onto the numbers that I read and tell us, where are we getting the money? That's our problem. All right? That's why I'm saying we need give and take on both sides of the fence. You help us so we can help you. You really want more police officers? Give up something, and then we can use that money to get you extra cops. They don't want to do it? What can we do? Our hands are tied. And that's what you have to understand. It's not us. We want to help, but we need help too. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. I just have one or two things. I know me and Jeff campaigned on part-time police, and we both thought that they could help the city. I mean, he maybe realizes that they'd file a grievance and grieve it and win. You know, I think he should negotiate with the police and use these hires to get some concessions from them to help to help us. I know it could be 2 or 3. We're going to raise some money. I'm going to get some of the money from the Water Authority land. We're going to put some of that on the market, maybe get that into the city. The ordinance that Mark came up with the abandoned homes and charging fees for that. Sean, I sent that to Donnie. I said to pick Allentown or York, whatever ordinance is better, just pick it and bring it to us, and we'll approve it, and we'll get some money generated, and maybe we could hire 2 or 3 more police. And so get that. I told Donnie to have something ready even for the next meeting, that on those 2 ordinances I sent them from York and Allentown.
I know what you're talking about, yes.
Well, with that, I think it was an interesting meeting. I think the more people that come, that's good for some people, but it doesn't mean if 1 or 10 people come, or 100 or 200, I'll do what's right for the citizens of Hazleton. We will do what's right, and it doesn't matter how many people come. Right. We'll still do what's right. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Helping your dollars go further every day. Stay here for fantastic bargains. This is Penny's Classifieds from WYLN TV 35.
When you need used auto parts, call Bonner Enterprises. They also take your junk cars and trucks, offering competitive prices. And you must have the title. Bonner Enterprises also delivers anti-skid, shale, and clay. Located at 410 Maplewood Drive in the Humboldt Industrial Park. Call them at 570-384-3291. If you're looking for a good pre-owned vehicle, Chura's Auto Sales has a great line of cars and trucks. Every vehicle is serviced, reconditioned, and inspected. All paperwork is done in-house by Irene Chura. Chura's Auto Sales has been in business for over 60 years. John and his family are the 3rd generation. Nick is the 5th generation. Chura's Auto Sales offers you experience, quality, and service. And today, John, Irene, and Nick Chura will be happy to show you a good pre-owned vehicle. North Broad Street in Susquehanna, West Hazleton.
Lehighton Kia is the place to go for all your 2016 Kia models. They showcase a variety of vehicles like the 2016 Soul and eye-catching Cadenza, the Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan, the 2016 Forte lineup including the Coupe and popular 5-door, and the Sorento and Sportage with a bold array of features. Lehighton Kia also offers a wide selection of pre-owned vehicles, and you can't beat the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Lehighton Kia, 21 Blakesley Boulevard in Lehighton.
Feisner's Ford Incorporated in Freeland is celebrating their 70th year in business. Come in for some great deals on the new 2016 models like the Ford Fusion, the Explorer, the Edge, and the Escape. Roy Feisner, the founder of Feisner's, has maintained the business in hard times and good times and is committed to quality service. Every new or pre-owned vehicle is serviced from all board-certified technicians. Stop in and take your dream car for a ride or call them at 570-636-3920. Feisner's Ford, 200 East South Street, Freeland. Since 1932, Zaner's Automotive Incorporated has been providing complete towing and wreckage recovery service, local and long distance, with light to heavy duty wreckers, and with 24-hour dispatching. They'll be on location within 1 hour. They also offer emergency truck and trailer repairs and roadside assistance, such as jump starts and lockouts. You can count on the Big Z for all your towing needs. Located at 213 East Broad Street in Hazleton. Call them at 570-454-0541.
John's Family Restaurant.
this is Staff Sergeant Eric Olson, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Warrior Summit Outdoors. With the fall, crisp winds, the cooling temperatures, and, well, the changing leaves, as you can see, means only one thing. It's fall hunting season. So the vets and I decided, what are we going to do this fall to start off with? And it just so happens I got a call from Mr. Joe Gans, who is the owner of Whitetail Preserve, and he invited us to come out pheasant hunting on his property. And, well, it didn't take much for us to decide that's the way to go. It didn't take much persuading. So we ended up going out there and thought, what the heck, let's see what we can get. And it turned out to be a pretty interesting adventure. We had some great guides, we had some good dogs, and we were going to figure out what we could do and see if we can get a bunch of birds.
Well, I gathered together a fine group of men, some combat vets who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as my 78-year-old father-in-law, an Army vet himself and a very experienced pheasant hunter. We're heading into the fields for our birds. Mr. Joe Gans, our Vietnam veteran host and owner of Whitetail Preserve, well, he gave us a safety briefing. And after that, the vets shared their excitement about the day ahead.
I grew up, hunting, fishing, a little bit of trapping, but getting home, that's definitely been something. It's been a nice outlet to be able to get out along with, fellow veterans. It's kind of a, good way to get out, throw the camis back on and get out in the woodline and just kind of decompress and not have to worry about the world.
It's great to experience, this type of stuff with like-minded individuals. Some of us have, we've been in a little longer, so we've got a little more experience to share, but it's a good time.
And I consider it an honor to be with this group of people. I didn't ever have to risk my life while I was in the service, and I know all the rest of the guys did, so I'm just honored to be here.
So we split into two groups with our respective bird dogs and handlers, headed out into the field to knock down a bunch of birds.
For more information on Warrior Summit Outdoors, we invite you to visit our website, www.couragehealsthesoul.com. There you'll find information about your host, Eric Olson, some of our upcoming episodes, and more.
Hi, I'm Brian Anderson, and I'd like to invite you to be a part of something special. USA Cares is a nonprofit organization helping military families with emergency financial assistance. We help prevent evictions and foreclosures, utilities from being turned off, and we put food on the table for our nation's heroes. USA Cares is looking to form a chapter in your area. Go to usacares.org. USA Cares, making a difference in the lives of military families.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I've achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date and have confidence again,
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
Beautiful. I decided, you know what, the best thing to do for conservation and humanity, and thought I'd let one go. So I did that, and I especially didn't want Tim to feel bad that, you know, I didn't want him to feel bad since he had already let a bird go. Yeah!
The boys and I had an outstanding day and we're eager to load the pheasant into the smoker and enjoy a well-earned feast.
For more information on Warrior Summit Outdoors, we invite you to visit our website, www.couragehealsthesoul.com. There you'll find information about your host, Eric Olson, some of our upcoming episodes, and more. Stay tuned for more Warrior Summit Outdoors on U2 America.
Henry Repeating Arms is a family-owned business. My family has been in the gun business since 1911.
At Henry, we take great pride in sourcing American-made materials.
Like gun barrel quality steel from Ohio, extruded steel and brass castings from Pittsburgh, the finest American walnut from Missouri, and deliver an American-made rifle that you would be proud to own.
And that's the vow of Henry, they'll be made in America.
But it won't be made at all. And you gotta love something that's made in America.
This is the best rifle I've ever owned. Call now for a free Henry catalog and decal, including a list of dealers in your area, so you can own your own piece of American history. Call or log on now. Henry!
I know a lot of complicated routines, but when it comes to keeping my skin clear, I like to keep it real simple.
So ditch breakouts the easy way with X-Out.
X-Out did all of this. It's working so good. I just looked in the mirror and I was just ecstatic.
X-Out's the first and only one-step wash-in acne treatment.
Step 1, wash in X-Out. Step 2, there is no step 2.
X-Out's medicine stays behind and keeps working way after you're done.
X-Out is just one step and you are done. It's like bam.
Wow. And the Icy Cool Blast tells you it's working and feels amazing.
Like a breath mint for your face.
Plus, there's coconut extract for extra fresh and clean skin. We're only at xout.com, so go online and order now. You'll even get our amazing body bar free, a clear skin bonus you can use all over. Forget complicated. Get clear the easy way.
X-Out pimples, fast and simple.
Do you notice anything different?
Does that...
The horror. Brother, it's horrible under here. We gotta go get some parts from here as you pull it.
Smell that? I love the smell of a salvage yard in the morning. Smells like victory.
Victory!
Check out their 3 locations, Hazleton, Allentown, Pennsburg. Harry Jou Pullet, making their customers victorious.
Before we get to our mouth-watering dinner, let's learn more about the talented dogs and the trainers who made our day so special.
We just started them off, just letting them smell birds. If it's really anything, we use pigeons, you use ducks, geese, whatever you want to use. And then you kind of just progress. You have to be able to use the common command, sit, stay, come, quiet. Sit, stay, come. It's not like actually a rocket science. It's actually really simple. And a lot of it's just the just natural given talent. They just know how to do it just because it's just how they are. But I mean, as long as you know how to teach them how to sit, stay, come, you're already halfway there. And then, I mean, eventually you just progress. You can use hand signals, use the whistle a lot I use, teach them how to fetch. I mean, as far as like finding the birds, like I said, that's just a natural given thing. So you kind of just, you take it in steps, and eventually as they get better at it, you get more into it.
When she picks up the scent, she'll
stop, she'll go on point, but as she's still trying to get the scent, her tail will be wagging. Once she finally gets the bird and she has it nailed, her tail pretty much stops and goes up like a flag. And then you know she has it pretty well nailed. The thing with pheasants is sometimes they'll run. So as she'll point it, the bird will sometimes sneak out and try to run, so she'll have to relocate and point it a second time, third time, fourth time, depends on the bird. Then, as I said, we bring the hunters in, and hopefully we'll get some good shots, and the bird will flush the right way, and we'll have some hunters who can hit it.
Well, when we had first approached to do this hunt, I was ecstatic about it. You know, you get a lot of things in the mail for different organizations and everything else, and you know, you write them a check, you send it in, but it's like faceless. You know, this was an opportunity for myself and my son to give back hands-on, actually meet the people that we're going to help or hopefully make a difference in their lives. And I think after the hunt was over, meeting with them, spending an entire day with these men, I think they made more of an impact on us than maybe what we did for them. It was an experience that, like, I can never really fully explain, you know, and something I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life.
For those who serve today and those who served before them, for those whose sacrifice will never end, the Gary Sinise Foundation shows its gratitude through entertainment, outreach, and life-changing support. We can never give enough, but we can always give a little more. Find out how you can donate at GarySineseFoundation.org.
Introducing
Two-Jack Cycle and Power Sports is your power sports authority. Here you'll find a brand selection that can't be beat. From 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels, and on the water too. Plus, Two-Jacks has the apparel and accessories to make you feel like a pro. So hold onto your seat and rev it up. At Two-Jack Cycle and Power Sports, Cole Street, Wilkes-Barre, your power sports authority.
Do you love the outdoors? Would you like to earn money and learn a new skill involving your interest in the outdoors? Consider a career in taxidermy. Bill Allen's Pocono Institute of Taxidermy, offering over 40 years in the teaching, training, and techniques to become a certified taxidermist. New classes forming throughout the year. Financing available. Call Bill Allen today at 570-443-9166 or visit us on the web at www.poconoinstitute.com for more information about how you can put your love of the outdoors and new skills into a thriving new career.
Burden of debt. Not everyone can understand it. The worry, the endless collection calls. We know what it's like to be in your shoes. We're the providers of Care One Debt Relief Services. We know because Bernie Dansell, who created Care One, overcame his battle with debt. And because we've helped over 5 million people just like you. We help consolidate your unsecured debt into one affordable monthly payment. For your free personalized plan, call our certified credit counselors or visit careoneworks.com.
After the boys and I had cleaned the birds, I fired up the smoker and we all gathered in the backyard to recap the day's events and anticipate a delicious meal of fresh birds.
Well, today we had a fantastic day out pheasant hunting, and what we did was we went to the Whitetail Preserve. Mr. Joey Gans had invited us, and he had set up the entire pheasant hunt for us, and we got there bright and early this morning, and we knew it was going to be a little warm, so we had to get there extra early. I'm going to say it's sun up, just to make sure the dogs were not going to be overexerted and they were going to be good to go for the day. So having gone there, Mr. Gans gave us a proper safety briefing, and we were told, where we're going to be hunting, what were the proper ways to handle the shotgun while pheasant hunting, as he laid it out where there was going to be one on the left, one on the right, and then the dog handler and the guide would be in the center. And it worked out. It was a really, really good technique that he used. So we broke down into 2 teams. We broke down into 3-on-1, and I believe that was Mike, it was Jonathan and John, and then myself and Tim Murphy were on Team Superstar on the right. And well, it was a great time, and for me, I found it especially rewarding, as I grew up bird hunting, not pheasant hunting, because I grew up in the South, so there was always dove and things of that nature, but never, more quail when we did upland. And having the guys to be able to come out, and I don't think they've done it for a while themselves, it was really an enriching day. And that's part of, I know that's been part of my healing process coming back from war, was to really get out there and just get back into nature again. It's not even so much about killing the birds and the whole 9 yards. It's as much as the camaraderie, being out, getting some extra, getting the fresh air. And I really had a great day with it. And it's been such a long time since I've been able to really do any good upland hunting. And we're going to sit down and we're going to have an awesome dinner tonight. And I think you'll be able to see some of this fine cuisine that I've cooked up here. And I'm really happy to have had the guys up here. It was a really good time. Made a lot of good friends. Had a tremendous time. And I don't think, John, you were telling me that I think that it's been a while since you've pheasant hunted.
Yeah, that's right, Eric. I've never had the chance to actually pheasant hunt. Back where I grew up, they were around when my grandfather was younger, and he would tell me stories about it, but I've never had the chance to hunt everything else in Pennsylvania, but just not pheasant, and it was quite an experience. I really, really enjoyed myself, and like you said earlier, it's just nice to get out in the woods and just relax. I mean, you're walking around, granted, but it's very calming. Mm-hmm. It clears your mind. It's like you said, it's nice to meet new people, especially going through the similar situations that you have. And Jonathan and I were talking a little earlier about different things and how they were the same but yet different at the same time. So it was fantastic.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It absolutely
is. Our stories are all a little bit different, but they're all almost in the same genre. Mm-hmm. We've all been and done our thing, and now it's about just trying to come home and become normal again, or what we can perceive as normal. Yes. And I'm glad you had a great time today, because I think I had pheasant hunted once before this, and that was years ago, I think. And in fact, I think I missed every bird I shot at, but that's not surprising. I also had a really distinct honor of having my father-in-law, Mike Druniak, out there with us today. And Mike told me about the yorn days of back when the earth was still cooling, and he was out just crushing pheasant all the time. And I was really, I was proud to have him out there with me today, and I was glad to get him out. And I know I'm hoping he had a good time. So.
Yeah, I did a lot of pheasant hunting, and in fact I started when I was 12 years old hunting with my uncles. And I hunted in Bucks County outside of Richland Town, Pennsylvania. And back then pheasants were very abundant in that area. And hunted for many years, and I was thinking today of what my most memorable pheasant hunt was, and it was back in 1958. Get that. Now you know how old I am. Back in 1958, it was the last day of the season, and usually when you hunt for pheasant on the last day, you don't expect to see anything. But I was hunting with my friend Doc Hager, and we both got our limit that day, hunting over 2 Springer Spaniels and a Labrador Retriever. And I think that was my most memorable day because we didn't really expect to get anything, and yet we both got our limit. So it was a great day, and today was a great day. I really enjoyed being with the guys, and I got to tell you, these guys are all crack shots. I mean, there weren't too many misses.
You know, we can't forget about the great guides we had out there today. I had the distinct pleasure of working with Mitchell Moran and his father, Jeff Moran, and those guys were really, they had it going on. It was amazing the way that they worked that dog in and out of the fields. They had it. Mitchell, being only 17 years old, he was mature beyond his years, and he had trained the dog himself from a puppy up. You know, we're talking high school kid here that just has the maturity level to be able to do that all the way through, and he was on point and guided us right through there, and I think you appreciated that as much as I did.
Really made our side pretty awesome.
We were all over it. So
all over the place.
So yeah. So Tim Murphy tells me he hunts a lot of pheasant.
Yeah, no, like you said, Eric, I grew up hunting, and pheasant hunting was something I got to do a lot, with my uncle as well. He got me into it, and that and deer, and the last time I got to hunt pheasant, this was huge for me because it's been like 14, 15 years since before the war, since before I had a chance to go out and do pheasant hunting. And tell you what, it came back pretty quick, once you start getting that, and like you said, our guides really, they helped bring that, they helped make it really, really awesome for us because, that whole, hey, butt beak blast,
Butt beak boom.
Butt beak boom, and that really helped tune it up. So
Triple B.
Yeah, and we pulled them all down, but we were able to crank off a bunch of shots, and it's just because superiority by fire. That's it was all about out there.
And as always, I always have that camaraderie, that good time with Mr. Jonathan Potts and his expert non-marksmanship. And I watched Jonathan with a bird that flushed on him, went in a straight direction, he didn't left, right, it was just straight. And all he had to do was just shoot right at it.
I mean, that's really not what happened. The thing flushed. It came at me literally like a pterodactyl, talons out. I thought I was going to lose at least one eye. I had to duck out of its way. It was barreling at my face. Then I had to reacquire my sight picture by doing a 180 backwards. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a bead at the end of your gun.
Correct. Still a sight picture.
Is that your scope?
Still a sight picture. We also need to take into consideration that I have 2 witnesses tier 1 that I'm a better shot than you. So, I just want to throw that out there
those
as well.
There?
Yes. All of these witnesses here are probably mine. So.
You know what, guys? I think it's time now to get out to the main part of this event for the day, and let's go chow on some birds.
Shout out.
Let's do it. Let's go. Get it, Jonathan.
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their team of licensed physical therapists, skilled nurses, speech, and occupational therapists can provide you with exceptional service in the comfort of your own home. They also offer dietitian, home health aide, and medical social worker services. You have a choice in your health care. For safe, friendly, qualified care, call All Care Home Care today and let their team begin taking care of you and your loved ones.
Hey kids, I'm home.
Dad, it's cold in here.
Oh, it's not cold in here, it's warm in here. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn this down because I got to save money for tax preparation.
Honest Abe's, your tax partner, giving free advice year-round. 310 South Church Street in Hazleton. Call them at 570-861-8297. Don't stress, pay less.
For over 25 years, Whitetail Preserve Shooting Range, 118 Boulevard Road, Bloomsburg, has provided professionally designed skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields. All stations are handicapped accessible with resident NRA certified shooting instructors on site. There are packages available to fit anyone's budget, restaurant and catering on site. Our facility is also available for weddings, business meetings, bachelor and private parties. Call 570-384-2314. Get the entire story when it's convenient for you. And get it from WILN News. 2 daily newscasts from your #1 source for local news. WILN's Evening Edition, news at 5:30. And WILN's Late Edition, news at 10. More than just headlines. It's the whole story. In-depth reporting on hot topics and more. Plus the area's most accurate weather report from the WILN Weather Center. More news, weather, and sports twice a day. Only on WILN, we're your local network.
Was built in 1722. It's the only surviving residence of a colonial Pennsylvania governor. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and it is a national landmark. Now that governor was Sir William Keith. He sold the place to his son-in-law, Dr. Thomas Graham, in 1739. Dr. Thomas Graham had 9 children, and the youngest of those was Elizabeth Graham. And Elizabeth is the one where all the history seems to swirl around. She came of age right before the American Revolution, and during the Revolution, she was mired in intrigue and, she had lost loves and all kinds of things that would make her perhaps be unhappy today. She had an engagement to William Franklin, but while she was engaged to him, he married someone else. She then met and married a man that was 10 years younger than she was, and he was also penniless. Now, when the war broke out, he joined the British, so he was considered a traitor. After the war, he couldn't come back, or he would be hanged. He would be tried and hanged. So he went to Scotland, never to return. So essentially, she lived out her life without her husband. During the war, we had encampments here on the property, General Anthony Wayne and General Lacey and General Potter, before they took their troops to Valley Forge in the winter of 1777 and 1778. It was during this time that General Washington became very angry at Elizabeth because she acted as a messenger and took a letter to him, a sealed letter from a friend. The letter essentially said, Washington, ask the king for forgiveness and stop the fighting. He even wrote to Congress that Elizabeth was cavorting with the enemy. She says she's a victim of circumstances. So as her life went on, she had so much wealth and plenty in the beginning to nothing at the end. She lived hand to mouth and finished out her years here in poverty.
Third Base Luncheonette, still making memories after all these years.
Hello, my name is Ken Altenbach from Team Building US. As a company that is honest and passionate about others, the ultimate mission of Team Building US is to make you a success.
Team Building US provides leadership development for people just like you and me. They offer essential training needed to build successful teams and impressive leaders. Team Building US's workshops are created and developed specifically for you or your organization.
From one person to 1,000, Team Building US has the solution.
Pennsylvania Pipeline Music TV features performances and interviews with the best musicians from all over, showcasing their original music and sharing their stories. Watch Pennsylvania Pipeline Music TV Thursdays at 8, Sundays at 9 on WYLN TV 35.
What's all this?
Sammy challenged Gil to a race.
If you want to call it that. Ha! Does Gil know? Know what? Uh-oh. Sammy's been supercharged.
Supercharge your internet with Service Electric with up to 25 megabits per second downloads for only $44.95 a month.
Okay, Sammy, let's see what you got.
That's because we let you do the setup tonight.
No way around.
Oh, it's nicer. Yeah, there's no air conditioner here.
I think we should start in here. I saw something duck around the corner.
Is that where you're gonna leave it static?
Yeah.
All right.
Here you go.
We got 3 dogs, so we can space them out.
Cameras.
I got this one too.
We were in that bedroom.
Because this is cool.
That was where my grandmother came through.
That's right.
Remember you saw that sparkly stuff?
Yeah. Then you got all mad at me about it.
I did not. I just got emotion.
What was that?
That's somebody upstairs.
No, the beeping.
That's the HDO.
No, the other beeping sound.
The dog, he had his leg by the dog.
Oh, okay. I was hoping it was that dog.
No, I saw Rat's nose turning blue.
Temperature of 65 degrees.
Elizabeth, if you're here, we brought some dogs with us. And they're not live dogs, but they're pretty lifelike looking. One of the ways that we would know that you're here and want to talk to us if you could pet one of the dogs. Pet them along the back or on the head, and they'll light up and make sounds. And it's a way we can communicate back and forth with you. There's 2 in this room, and there's 1 on the upper floor. So if you feel that's something you want to try, then go right ahead.
They even had names. This one next to me is named Rat.
And that's Chili.
And the dog upstairs is named Rufus, so you can even call them by name.
Is that the heater on?
I think so.
Are we hearing something?
I've been hearing the constant hum since we got in here.
Yeah, so I got the microphones amplified and everything.
Yeah, there's a pretty good draft too. That's pretty steady coming through here.
Now we have some other devices that will be less familiar to you, but they will also light up and make sounds, or some of them will just light up like a rainbow if you go near them and try to touch them. It's just another way, again, that we can communicate with you. So whichever way you'd like, or any of the objects you want to touch, feel free. And then maybe we can start a conversation. And there's one on the upper floor. So if you feel that's something you want to try, then go right ahead.
They even have names. This one next to me is named Rat. What's
And that's Chili.
And the dog upstairs is named Rufus, so you can even call them by name.
Is that the heater on?
I think so.
I'm hearing something.
I've been hearing the constant hum since we got
Okay.
in here.
Yeah, so I got the microphones amplifying everything.
Mm-hmm.
You want to touch, feel free. And then maybe we can start a conversation.
I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it looks like the static camera is moving.
I don't see any movement.
No? Okay, because I'm still seeing it. It must just be an outward angle on that. It looked like this screen was tilting.
Test that.
Well, now I can't see it at all, so.
I got a good view of it then.
Okay. Let me know if you see anything weird on it.
What was the name of your dog? I understand you had one too. I have 4 dogs. I have 3 Chihuahuas, which is why I have my stuffed Chihuahua over there that will light up and play music. And I inherited a Dachshund. So I have a little herd of dogs. So tell me a little bit, I want to learn a little bit more about you.
She was engaged to Benjamin Franklin's son, correct? Did I read that right?
I guess no one read the history, right?
Yeah.
I don't like to read the history till afterwards because I don't like to bias myself.
Yeah, I don't usually read anything.
Yeah, once we finish one, then I'll read it and
Okay.
see if it correlates with anything that happened. But if I put the idea in my head, then it's almost like I'm waiting for it.
Well, then you can't trust any impressions you get after that.
Right.
Because
I'd rather be blind.
we have action. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You guys.
That's wonderful.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you for saying hello. We're so happy that you're here.
That Chihuahua was actually bigger than any of
So you were standing right next to it. What did you think when it went out?
The first thing I did was look at the Mel. I didn't see too much of a fluctuation though, but I was still a couple of feet away from it, so yeah, there wasn't a big fluctuation in the Mel, but I did go off when I was standing right here, so it was kind of behind me, and I just kind of turned, it was like, whoa, so it was pretty intense.
I think your exact words were, we have activity.
Yeah.
If you haven't found the perfect fishing getaway, you haven't been to Captain's Cove. Located on Henderson Harbor in upstate New York, Captain's Cove offers a variety of accommodations to please just about anyone. The motel, also located on the harbor, offers a magnificent view. Enjoy free morning coffee, air-conditioned rooms, cable TV, and HBO. The cottage can accommodate up to 8 people with 3 bedrooms, a complete kitchen, washer-dryer, 2 full baths, air conditioning, an outside grill, and picnic table. Call us today for rates and information at 1-800-824-FISH.
CPAP users everywhere are discovering the benefits of having their supplies shipped directly to their homes.
It seemed like I was getting sick all the time. My doctor said bacteria could be building up in my CPAP hoses and mask. I thought washing them was enough, but getting new supplies every couple of months was so easy. And I'm feeling much better.
If you haven't called Allied Medical Supply Network to get your CPAP supplies, you owe it to yourself to pick up the phone. You could qualify to have your fresh, brand-name supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you.
I used to have to drive across town to pick up my supplies. Now they're delivered directly to my door. I don't even have to remember when to order because it's done for me.
Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to see if you're eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies.
Call 800-691-5181. That's 800-691-5181.
Hello, I'm Bill Washko from WYLN TV. Please join us this year as the Hazleton unit of the American Cancer Society presents the 38th annual telethon On the Road to Wellness. The telethon will be held Saturday, February 27th at our new home, the Health and Wellness Center at Hazleton. WYLN will be broadcasting live from 11 to 11. The telethon is made possible by these sponsors.
Let's see, where should we sit, Dave?
Whatever you guys want to do. Over on the opposite angle from where you're at?
Yeah,
Over in here?
Bob, you cover the mid to right side, I'll cover the mid to left side.
Oh, crap. Hey, Bob, about the fireplace stuff.
Don't put nothing in front of me that's valuable.
Don't believe the fireplace, there's original problems back there.
Just take a couple steps back, that's all. You look gigantic.
So you got the left side?
Yeah, I you on the left, so you take Andrew.
Okay, so
All right.
we are.
Whenever you guys are ready.
All right, so we are up here in Dr. Graham's. That's the name, right? Okay. All right, so we are up here in Dr. Graham's bedroom on the 2nd floor. We have already heard what sounded like a female's voice in this area. Let's see if we could make contact with who's ever here with us. I know this is your bedroom. I know it's late at night. I don't want to seem intrusive. We have a bunch of people here with us. But if there's any way possible that you could let us know that you're here.
Like that?
Did you get Bob? Like that? Perfect. If you want to move around to the other side of the bed? Thank you. That was great.
Thank
Thank you very much. I've never seen it stop on a light like that before, Bob, have you?
Yeah.
You have? Okay. Okay. If that was you, and maybe you were getting into bed or getting off of the bed, we have lots of other things around the room just like that will let us know that you're by it. Anywhere that you see a green light, it's not fire, it won't burn you. You know, you might not have had electricity. These things, these instruments, these tools that we have, they won't hurt you. They're just here to let us know that you're here.
That was my stomach. That was my stomach.
No, that was fine.
Sorry.
Is that a K2 hit? Anybody else?
Looked like
see
it.
that?
I saw it. I saw it.
I think that was just a K2 hit on the bed.
Does anybody have any cell phones?
Yeah, over here.
Hmm?
I don't have a cell phone.
I went over here.
If you could put it on airplane mode, please. That will set the K2 off.
Again, if that was you, maybe sitting on the edge of the bed there. Maybe you could do it again. And you can make that, touch that green light and a lot of other lights will light up. Red, yellow, blue, orange. Can you tell us if it's the doctor that's here? Was that Ann that was answering us before? Other side, Bob.
I see. I'm not in your way, right, Dave?
I got it. Perhaps that was somebody looking out the window. If it was and you can walk over there again, we'd appreciate it. Like Andrew said, we're not here to be intrusive. We're not here to frighten anybody, to scare you away. We're here to understand. One of the questions I've always had is what it's like where you're at now. Maybe you can help me answer that question.
That was definitely my stomach. Did somebody just have a flashlight on behind you?
There's
Over on
nobody-
that side of the room?
No, there's nobody behind me. Whose stomach was that?
It was ours.
Oh, okay.
Dave, point your camera towards that corner over there. I just want to see something.
It is already. Oh, there's that one lighting up over there.
Hmm?
The dome.
That's almost every dome in the room went off.
In four corners.
Yeah, all different corners.
They've all stopped.
That is stuck right there.
They've all stopped on the green like that.
That one is crazy stuck.
Who just said? I'm not trying to scare you away. I heard something.
Did you guys whisper?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like it's sitting on the windowsill.
Yeah. Ann, is that you over there?
Did you come over closer to talk to me? Because I was addressing you? If it is, perhaps you can whisper in my ear. Perhaps say your name as loud as you can, so we can hear it. Is there just one person that's walking around the room? Or is there more than one here with us tonight?
When we back off, you can get Andrew now and Angel first.
All right. I had to get you in frame, Bob. I didn't have a choice.
What's that?
I had to get you on frame in order to catch Rich talking. It's no big deal.
It's funny with that, but EMF hasn't budged.
Dr. Graham, I know this was your bedroom. So if I am addressing you right now, could you please light up one of these lights on your bed? All you have to do is walk by, place your hand over it, sit down next to it.
It was outside. Somebody was by driving over the bridge, it might be the delivery guy.
From the WYLN studios in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, WYLN Late Edition News at 10 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday night. I'm Gary Perna. New at 10 tonight, the city of Hazleton will not be able to raise the EIT tax to hire more police. That's according to Mayor Jeff Cassat. Tonight, Cassat was in the WYLN studios to tape an upcoming Topic A. He said that following a discussion with the lawyers, they cannot do it under this current form of government that the city follows.
The original idea was to use EIT tax to increase revenue and hire police officers at this time. Some of the reports and information that we had allowed us to raise the city's EIT portion to 1%.